Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of the James Brown Podcast. I'm your host Raj, and with me as always is my co-host Spencer.
Hey everybody.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing really good.
Yeah?
I'm really excited to get this on the road.
Yeah, you seem more excited than I am.
Well, I don't know. I've just been watching anime all week. It's my first week where I've been off university completely.
Yeah? How's that feel?
I don't know. It's really good. Actually, you know what I was thinking? We got a lot of new listeners in the past couple podcasts.
Uh-huh.
And we said some things in our first couple podcasts that they don't know about now.
Okay.
And so I just kind of want to, give a little, biography of who we are. Just a little bit. Just like 5 seconds.
Okay. Go for it, I guess.
Okay. I'm Spence, usually known as James. The name origins from this really interesting line app we use.
Hey. Don't tell them the origin.
Okay, no origin. Never mind.
They can figure it out. Or they can ask.
Pretty much, we're university students. I'm getting married in about 2 months. Raj is in my wedding party, and that's kind of where we've been talking about. So now you're all on the same page. Yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say.
All right. You just wanted to plug your wedding.
I didn't
admit it.
want to. Yeah. I'm really excited. It's coming up in like 2 months. Actually, the way it's all going to line up, I'm going to record a podcast the week before the wedding, and then there's going to be no podcast next week because I'm going to be married.
You're gonna have to go on your honeymoon.
But we'll podcast over Skype on our honeymoon.
Are you?
No, I'm kidding.
I was gonna say I don't think your fiance would let you do that.
Do that.
You know, this past week's actually been the 10-year anniversary of Clannad.
Serious?
Yeah, I think for the visual novel, not the anime.
That was one of the first anime that really made me understand emotion. You know, like in anime, like, it's just it was.
You
really
tried
good.
to. That's one. We tried to get your fiance into that.
She went right to the Fuka arc.
Fuko.
To the end of the Fuko arc.
And then that was it.
Well, she's yeah. I don't know. You haven't introduced yourself, but do you want to?
What?
Introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm Raj. Hi, aka Brown of the James Brown Podcast. I'm the main host. Spencer's the co-host, who I may or may not replace. Earlier in one of our podcasts, I think it was the Silver Spoon podcast, he called me a weeaboo. And ever since then, I've threatened him by replacing him.
Well, there's no one really who can replace me. We might have guests one day, but I mean, we complement each other very well.
Anyway, for the 10-year anniversary, they're re-releasing Clannad, the visual novel, or they're releasing it on the PlayStation Vita. And I played the visual novel for the first time maybe 6 years ago, and it was the first visual novel I ever played. 6? No one's gonna understand that reference. And no one's gonna get that. And I never completed it. I finished like 2 routes, and I was like, "That I'm done." I didn't realize how big of a time commitment a visual novel is. But ever since then, every visual novel I've played, I've 100%ed. So I'm gonna go back and 100% this one.
Who owns a Vita?
No, I'm going to get the PC version.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
Forget the Vita. Nobody owns a Vita.
Well, they obviously do because people are making games for the Vita.
Well, I mean, they do in Japan. There's not many incentives for a Western person to get a Vita.
No, that's very true.
As proven by my neighbor who bought a Vita as soon as it was released and then sold it within 2 weeks.
That's because he was all hyped up against its compatibility with PS4 and stuff.
The PS4 wasn't even out when he bought it.
That's just the way he rolls.
I guess.
He does everything newest and better than us.
Do you think he's going to listen to this podcast? Probably not.
Probably not, which is why we can berate him all we want.
So, before we actually jump into what we're going to do, I want to discuss something, Spencer. You and I love getting feedback from our fans. You guys are awesome, by the way. Great fans. And we love both positive and negative feedback because we like to see what we do wrong. But one person in particular gave us feedback on something I never thought we would ever be criticized on. He said, I'm not going to call you out. I'm not going to say who you are. But he said that we go off on too many tangents and make too many references to other anime.
Too many tangents. You know what? That's my job. My whole... you have a vast amount of memory for the episodes. My job is all of a sudden I get this feeling. And I'm like, that reminds me of something. And I make a tangent. And I link up the anime. That's like my job.
I was thinking about what this guy was saying. And really at the core, he wanted us to change.
Yeah.
And that reminds me in Yu Yu Hakusho... that Keiko wanted Yusuke to change his delinquent ways.
You know what? But he was perfect just the way he was.
Yeah, being a delinquent's not all that bad. As proven in Beelzebub, when Oga had to juggle life as a new father of this baby demon and life as a delinquent, which was really a good status symbol.
Very true. You know what that also reminds me of?
Yeah?
That anime we just recently watched with the club and the guy who was a delinquent and his crew. You really liked it. It was last season.
Oh, Defrag.
Yeah, Defrag.
Defrag was
that's
great.
What that reminded me of.
But speaking of dads, You know, that reminded me of Pilot's love song and how much of a deadbeat dad Kal-El's dad was, and how much of a prick he was for cheating on his wife. You know, it's not really cool to do.
You know what that also reminded me of?
Yeah.
How worthless the general guy was.
The general was terrible. I mean, you could really say he cheated at his job. And speaking of cheating, that reminds me of the Chunin exam in Naruto, where the first written thing they had to do was like cheat on the exam. That was really cool.
Speaking of Naruto, One Piece is getting pretty good, hey?
Right, One Piece is actually getting really good.
Yeah.
Too bad it's Golden Week, because there was no manga this week.
I've been waiting for it. You know what that also reminds me of? I haven't seen a single One Piece movie before.
Really? I haven't either.
Are they good?
I don't know. I haven't seen
you haven't either. Yeah, fair enough.
Because I watched when I was really big into Naruto, I watched a bunch of Naruto movies, and really, I couldn't really say they're good. They're good, like, I don't know how to describe it, like fan fiction, I guess, but it's really not as good as a real thing.
You know what that also reminds me of?
Yeah.
We need to actually start recapping weekly anime.
Nah, man, we can still go off on tangents.
We could go forever. You know what? This is our thing. And you know, we're sorry. We don't want to sound like jerks or anything. We really appreciate your negative feedback and all your criticisms and everything. But we love tangents. And those who listen to us probably do too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a whole thing going, but I have.
Wait, did you have notes?
Dude, I have a list of tangents that actually ends up back to what we're going to cover.
Oh, you almost made it.
Yeah, it was pretty close. Then you derailed me.
Okay, you can go ahead.
Nah, it's too late. Now we're just going to jump into it now.
You didn't even let me know about this list. See how compatible we are?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I was going. I kind of knew what you were doing.
This is why I'm my co-host, man.
Okay,
this is why I'm your co-host.
Wait, co-host doesn't put me under you, right? It's like cooperative, same level?
Yeah.
Okay. You know, because you always do the introductions, and it makes me feel like I'm, not as important as you, It's
because you're not. But you're still my co-host.
Can I just try the intro right now?
You want to?
I'm not going to start the podcast over. I want to try.
We're more than 5 minutes into the podcast.
Can I just try?
We haven't even spoken about anime yet.
Try.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. Hey everybody, it's Spencer from the James and Brown podcast. No, what do you got? I'm Spencer, and this is my co-host Raj. You can do it every time. I'm not very good.
Flawless. Absolutely
flawless. There were so many flaws in that it wasn't even funny. Okay, never mind. I'm sorry.
So how about we actually get to what we're supposed to be talking about?
Okay.
Which is our weekly recap. We'll start with what we usually do. Black Bullet, or should we call it Full Metal Alchemist now?
Full Metal Alchemist.
Full Metal Civic Officer. Okay, Full Metal Alchemist, we've mentioned this before, is our favorite anime of all time.
Number one.
Brotherhood in particular. And so... you watched this before me, and you sent me a text saying Edward is back, and I was like, I don't know what that means. And then it got to the point where he was punching Kagetane's barrier, and his hand started exploding. I was like, okay, I know where this is going, and this is amazing.
The only difference is that his mechanical arm and leg are on the same side.
Yeah,
and he got a mechanical eye,
which is fine.
And you know what? We called this. We knew that he wasn't normal. I kind of called him out as a Wolverine type character where he healed really quickly. But now I don't even understand how he heals.
It might the limbs might heal him more. They might contain medicine that
he
accelerates healing.
I just don't understand how he was completely healed from getting shot a couple episodes back if he doesn't have healing ability.
That's what I'm saying. The limbs might hold medicine or something that heals him.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, where we left off last week, they were going, Rentaro and Enju and the other girl were going to basically meet up with all the other civic officers and their initiators.
Which never happened.
As to what do you call it? Swarm Kagetane.
Yeah.
And then the girl is like, I'm just gonna stay back. And then because you find out that I think they're called Gastera, they're coming after Rentaro's group, and she's like, someone has to hold them off, so I'll just stay here, which is fair. Yeah. So Rentaro and she says, take care of Shogun. By the way, last week I told you Shogun's gonna die.
Well, you know what? That was actually really shocking for me. They wander into town and see all these dead bodies, which apparently are civil officers and their
initiators. They're all dead.
So what happened was he walks in, and then Shogun stumbles out of the building saying, I can still fight. I'm not hurt. Where's my sword? He collapses, and he has a giant cloud-like sword sticking out of his back.
Yeah, it was his sword. Yeah. How did you not see that coming?
I don't know.
It was so obvious.
I was in the moment. I was invested.
Basically, I love what happens next is when Kagetane shows up and he's like, let's have our final battle, or let's end this. And Rentaro's like, everybody's dead. It's just you and me. I couldn't have asked for anything better. And as two guys who love shonen, we love the boss fight. We love the main character going up against the main bad guy just one-on-one.
Yeah, but the main issue is that this is only episode 4.
This anime paces itself very similarly to Sakurazo. Sakurazo paced itself in the exact same way where by episode 4, it felt like I had watched a 12-episode season.
It was crazy. Like this episode, if I can describe it in a couple words, is a final episode.
It feels like one.
I was actually concerned that it was ending, but I was like, whoa, it's only episode 4.
And it's a 24 episode season.
And the way that it all happened, like, I guess they just decided to complete this arc pretty quickly because he fought Kagetane.
Amazing fight, by the way.
Oh man.
That's a fire alarm.
I'll be right back.
All right.
I want to! No!
Oh, God, that hurt. Oh, my ears.
Thanks! I got it.
You ripped out your fire alarm?
Podcasts are more important than fires.
I'm assuming we're going to cut that out. If we don't, well, nope. There goes another one.
So let's do a little pause here and pretend like we're going to cut it. Oh, boy.
Oh, there it goes. I mean, should we just wait just in case it comes
I don't
back?
remember what we said before.
We were talking... I was about to say how great the fight was.
Oh, okay. Ready? So I'm going to be like... Oh. So, yeah.
The fight between Kagetane and Rintaro was so cool.
Yeah. Like, when his limbs exploded, showing that he had these pretty sick-looking
Veranium, yep.
Veranium arms. Oh, my goodness. Like,
Arm and leg.
So cool.
It's auto-mail, but futuristic, which is awesome.
What does the eye do?
It's just an eye.
Does it do anything
I
special?
don't think so. They didn't mention anything.
Okay. Well, anyways, Rentaro pretty much wrecks Kagetane.
Well, after Rentaro gets wrecked himself.
Yeah.
He gets a hole blown through him.
He gets pretty destroyed.
And he's about to die. There's no way for him to live.
And so what he does is it was kind of alluded to last episode, but his operator / sensei / somebody, the professor.
He calls her sensei because you call her Dr. Sensei.
Okay. So the doctor who it's revealed did work on him to save him when he was younger.
The one who probably gave him the limbs.
Yeah, he got ripped apart. Gave him these vials that contain a kind of a booster filled with
like Gastera DNA or something.
Yeah, or something. So
there's like a 20% chance you turn into one.
But it gives you the healing abilities, which I assume is what. No, but they wouldn't have used that on him when he was sleeping.
They might have. I mean, there's only a 20%
Maybe there's
chance.
a little bit of that built into his arms.
Maybe.
Whatever. So I thought he was going to go to Gastera, and then he blinked out. He says, "I won that bet." Stood up and just.
It should be noted that the one who pushed him over that was Enju. He sees her crying, and she says, "Don't leave me alone."
And so he kind of gets over that. Enters into a sweet battle where Kagetane actually has no idea. He's pretty much set it back because no one's challenged him at this point.
Yeah.
He thought he was the only Veranium infused, boss that existed in this universe.
It's so cool.
So he punches him. Awesome. He does like a flying hammer kick right into his face.
Yep.
And sends Kagetane down into the ocean.
And Kagetane specifically says, "I never thought I would be defeated." He never says, "I never thought I would be killed."
Well, they always say defeated, but I understand what you're alluding to.
And, I mean, come on. Everybody knows if a villain or a hero or anybody, if they're mortally injured and they fall into water, it means they're going to live.
Oh, of
the
course.
water always saves them.
Yes.
It's anime staple.
So Rentaro looks at the daughter of Kagetane and pretty much says she's not our enemy anymore. And they backtrack and they get a call from Kisara, which is pretty much saying, we have an issue.
Turns out the level 5 Gastera was released anyway, and now they have no way to kill it.
And so what happens is, what I was excited about in the last episode, seeing that giant tower, I forget what it's called now, actually.
It's like Ladder of Heaven or something like that.
Or something like that. I was like, I wonder what that does. Well, they tell you, it's pretty much a giant rail gun that can shoot things at the speed of light anywhere. And
Near the speed of light?
Yeah, and I'm assuming that the old generation, the lost generation, used that on a global scale for war, or they built it to fight the Gastera. I don't know which one they did.
Well, basically, it shoots Veranium, so it's their only method of killing the level 5.
It could shoot other things.
Yeah, but, I mean, if they have this weapon, why are they so afraid of Gastera?
Well, because that weapon is on the outskirts of the wall.
Oh, so you had to get through a bunch of Gastera
Yeah,
to
I
get
mean,
to
the only
it.
reason they live is because they're with an initiator.
That makes sense.
So they get into this tower, and she's like, "Hey, we're gonna remotely control it. You just need to fire it or whatever. Just be there."
And the first issue is it has no Veranium.
So he's like, "Ah, dang it!" So he, the coolant's leaking. Things are going to crap. He runs into the chamber and's like, but he makes his decision pretty dang quickly.
I knew where this is going, but it was pretty badass.
And he looks down at his arm and he's like, "Okay." He rips off his arm. Surprisingly, no blood, knowing the series for what it is.
Yeah,
pretty
but
bloody.
he was in a lot of pain.
Shoves his arm into the chamber and runs back, and then is told that he has to manually fire it. And this is where you begin to see Rentaro's kind of real side. He's actually super nervous about shooting this thing.
Because if he misses or anything like that, then the entire Tokyo area is gone.
You know what I mean? He could misfire and, the explosion it would have been massive.
Yeah.
I mean, he has another limb, so he technically had another shot, but he didn't want to cause mass destruction, right? So he freaks out. Enju has him and her have this emotional, we can do it time. They shoot the Class 5. It blows up.
He says something along the lines of, I always want to be with you, Enju. And she says, can I take that as a proposal?
And he's like, and he pretty much shuts her down. But I like the relationship as it's growing.
It's such a good relationship.
Class 5's defeated. Rah, rah, rah. It totally feels like a last episode. He goes to where that girl was.
It didn't feel like a last episode until what happened after this. When he gets
it was
back
like
to
a
the city.
montage,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But basically, he goes back to where the girl who was Shogun's partner is, and she's missing a limb. She's all bloody. All the Gestera around her are dead. And she herself is starting to mutate into a Gestera. Her corrosion's over 50%.
And each initiator has a corrosion level, and we find out later that Enju's is actually sitting about 26.7 or something like that. And so, which is, I assume, normal for a child of
pretty
a
much
Gestera.
ideal, I would say. Well, I mean, ideal would be 0.
And I'm assuming if you're above 50%, you start transforming into a Gestera.
Yeah.
So she asked Rentaro, this was a really incredibly emotional moment, actually.
Yeah, she asked him to kill her while she's still a human, which is fair. I mean, it makes sense. I would probably want the same thing. And he holds back for a while because they're still talking, and she says something very interesting. She says, "You don't look like a guy who has many friends, so I'll be your friend. And I think she says that because he was thinking she has nobody. And she said that for kind of his benefit, in that now that I'm his friend, he knows I'm not alone when I die. That's what I got out of that.
I don't know. It was just really I liked the art during that. It was just really beautiful, like the sun coming in and everything.
It's pretty sad.
And when the sun kind of flushed in and the camera shot up and you heard oh man, it was just like, this is a real world, It feels heavy.
Real, yeah, air quotes.
Well, yeah, and then so what happened afterwards is we start getting this montage of what's going to happen, and every initiator and their civil officer apparently is getting a push to get a special status, which gains you access to any resource you want. Sounds exactly like Full Metal Alchemist, you know what I mean?
Oh, like a state alchemist?
It sounds like that, right? I'm not trying to compare it, don't get mad, but it just sounds similar. If that helps you remember. And the Gestera children, the cursed children, are actually getting rights. At least that's what they're pushing for. You find out that the white-haired guy,
his adopted father,
was actually
he's the one who set everything in motion.
Yeah. And then
because he hates cursed children, thinks they're abominations. I was going to say he is a jerk. He's a complete asshole. But did you see that flashback? He took down a Gestera with a sword.
Oh, I know.
That's
cool.
badass.
And you know what? That's back to the beginning episode where he was fighting that weird vulture-looking thing. It all makes sense now, But my question is, if the white-haired guy saved Rentaro, how did Rentaro sustain those wounds that needed fixing? It wasn't during that fight, was it? Because he got saved.
It's after. It's when he goes to save Kisara.
Oh, right, because she said...
Yeah, she said, her parents were eaten, and then he came and saved her life, but then he lost all his limbs in the process.
I didn't know, okay.
And I think they were both adopted into the family, or maybe she's already part of the family. I'm not too sure.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I don't know. I was going to say something, and then I was like...
He basically confronts the old guy, and he reveals all that, he was behind this.
Yeah,
and
I remember.
He pulls the gun to his face, but he doesn't shoot him because the guy did technically save his life. So they're kind of even now. And
at the end, it's revealed that apparently the artifact that called the Class 5 was a broken tricycle.
Yeah, that gives me a couple of theories. It gives me one theory. That because Gestera are human who become Gestera, I'm assuming the bike was something that reminded of its humanity or something.
Yeah, a nostalgic thing?
Yeah, and then it just freaked out over it and then evolved. Mm-hmm. That's the only theory I can come up with.
I don't even know how Class 5s are born.
A freaking bike? What the heck?
I don't know. So there's a lot of mystery in this anime that's coming out, but it was well done. And I was telling Raj, it's just shooting up my list.
You say every week. I don't know how much higher it can get on your list.
Well, it can go, there's Captain Earth on the top. And then there's No Game, No Life. And, Black Bullet is punching its way kind of, wrestling between those. That's kind of what I'm saying.
Okay. So the episode basically ends with Rintaro telling Enju that her corrosion rate has remained the same. But then you find out through a cutaway that it's actually at 40-something%. She's got 7% left. It's probably 43% then.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's got 7% humanity left.
I didn't see that.
You didn't see that? That's the biggest part of this episode, in my opinion.
Oh.
Because that drives a whole nother thing. that if he doesn't tell her for the reason that he knows if he does tell her and he tells her not to fight, she'll fight anyway. So regardless, she's gonna get corroded and she's gonna become a Gastera.
Can you become uncorroded? Can it drop?
There's no cure. There's no knowable cure.
We can't go backwards?
You can't go back. So that's why they're always cursed children. They're not cursed adults.
Oh yeah, I guess that makes sense.
So basically, Rintaro will, if she's going to transform, he would kill her. So there's a fear that a lot of people have that Rintaro is going to have to kill her. And I've seen a lot of comments saying if Rintaro has to kill Enju, I'm dropping this series. But I have to say,
that seems like a cop-out thing to drop
I don't think that they're going to go that route. I'm pretty sure they're going to go the route of either she finds a balance, like a perfect balance at 50%, or she goes over 50% and then sort of remains control as a Gastera, and maybe she can transform kind of like Eren.
Oh, yeah.
But I have to say, if this anime does go the route of Rintaro having to kill her, that's going to launch this anime shooting up my list from being good to truly great.
Well, yeah, in order to have the balls to do that.
To have the balls to do that would be fantastic. Yeah. I don't expect it to do it, but man, if it did.
Was there a preview this week?
Yeah, they have some bodyguard mission next week to do.
Oh, okay.
But basically, any fighting that Enju does at this point is very dangerous. Because she just gets one step closer to becoming Gastera. Yeah, that's Black Bullet.
That's Black Bullet. Just something to think about. It's really good.
It is
really good anime.
It was a roller coaster of emotions this week. It was a very, very heavy episode.
So next is Chaika, the Coffin Princess. That one's also very close to the top of my list.
So last week it ended with what was her name? The girl who looked like Cordelia, Dominica. Her saving Toru's life. And so I said last week that she reminds me very much of Cordelia from Fire Emblem Awakening, and she still does. Even now, I wouldn't say her fighting style is similar, but just the personality seems very similar. Someone who loves to fight but wants to like protect. But basically, she saves Toru, and then she invites him and Akari and Chaika into her mansion to just stay the night or whatever. Stay a couple days until they need to. Because Akari makes up this story that she and Toru are like... she says that they're brother and sister who've fallen in love, and their family doesn't approve of that, so they're running away, but they're being pursued.
It was quite detailed, actually.
It's extremely detailed, but then it's actually revealed that they're not related by blood, and I hate it when they do that, because they're just trying to say, hey, they might get together. It's not really incest.
They're legitimizing the Oni-chan route.
The pseudo-incestual...
I don't think it's going to happen.
It's not going to happen. But I just don't like the premise of it.
Yeah. So the anime goes forward. They're discussing the morality issues of how nice Dominica is.
Chaika's very against fighting her because she says she saved us from those wolves or those dogs or whatever. We can't just fight her. I want to find a peaceful solution. And Toru says, I'll ask her for the object. But if she says no, we have no choice but to take it by force.
So he decides to ask her over breakfast. And I don't know.
Extremely upfront.
Yeah, he is very upfront. And he's very calm about it. I really like his character. Dominica refuses and says, you know what, you have to defeat me in order to get this.
And she seems very excited for the sake of battle.
The reveal, it's revealed that the saboteurs are saboteurs and not just commoners. And so a battle commences at night in the courtyard, and it's these fight scenes are so good.
The action in the series is amazing.
Very dynamic. Different settings that the battle moves through, and it's really good. I like it.
Yeah, it should be noted that when, I keep forgetting her name, Dominica, when she saw Chaika, she had no reaction. And as soon as that happened, I knew exactly where this episode was going. This episode, at least for me, was rather predictable, but it was executed very well.
Well, she did have some reaction. It was different than the humans, though, because her reaction, she seemed to like Chaika. Remember at the dinner table when she gave her that awkward smile, and Chaika just gives that really awkward...
That's because after she was petting the cat beforehand.
I guess so. But what the Dragoon would have known...
No, I don't think so.
So it's revealed at the end of the fight that, in the middle of the fight actually, that Dominica isn't actually Dominica, and it's the Dragoon.
Yeah, Dominica's actually been dead for a number of years.
She fell ill due to lack of need, just like the saboteurs after the battle. So
yeah, she had no one to fight. Very similar to Toru. She had nothing really left to live for, and she just wanted to fight, but she had nothing left to fight.
And so that means that the Dragoon had nothing left to live for, and it explains the very arrogant statues and pictures all over. It wasn't that Dominica was super obsessed with herself. It was actually because the Dragoon really missed her and didn't want to forget.
Yeah, it was pretty sad.
So the battle ends with Toru going in and stabbing the Dragoon in the head, her weakness, but didn't go deep enough to hurt her brain.
He did not kill her. He had no intention to. He just, because the Dragoon said, just if you defeat me, you can get the artifact.
Yeah.
you don't have. She never explicitly said you have to kill me.
So they get the artifact, they get the eyes. It's all good. But then the Dragoon.
I love where this goes.
So the Dragoon transforms back into Dominica. And you know what? There's a hint dropped when Toru, when she transforms into a dragon. Oh, is this your final form? He's like, no, this is the form that you wanted to see. And she transforms back into Dominica. And at the end of that, she transforms back into a girl named Frederica.
Oh, yeah.
Who is a little girl who her now new goal is to kill Toru and joins the party.
A lolly has been added to the harem. Oh, yes.
And it's revealed that the cat who was following around Chaika is actually the Dragoon, who was actually Dominica, who was actually Frederica. So
long story short, they have a Dragoon in the party who wants to kill Toru, but she's not going to let anybody else hurt him because
obviously it's not going to happen. It's a classic trope. It's that.
She's going to fall in love with him.
But the fact that there's a Dragoon in the party, it's not even a Dragoon. Isn't it a dragon? Or isn't the Dragoon the one who controls the dragon?
No, the Dragoon is the dragon.
Okay.
They just call it a Dragoon.
Isn't that like Beyblade?
Yeah. I think... I don't know his Japanese name, but in the English sub, his name was Tyson.
Yeah.
His Bit Beast was a Dragoon.
Oh,
you watched Beyblade?
Yeah, man. I love that. I love that anime.
I loved it too, but it wasn't good.
No, it wasn't. It's like...
it was terrible.
Actually, Metabots was good.
Metabots was great.
It's really good. And so was Monster Rancher. I probably just sent a bunch of you on a nostalgic trip.
So few memories of Monster Rancher.
Monster Rancher, I rewatched it. So
Did you?
good.
I didn't bother rewatching
in sub
that one.
too. It was so much better. You know what's funny? Watching Digimon season 1 in English.
There's so many puns in that anime.
Yeah, it was so bad. And the dub tried to rush dialogue so fast.
Yeah, they did.
You're like, there was no time for them to breathe because they tried to match every mouth movement. It was crazy.
It was pretty funny.
Anyway, so now we have an adventure harem.
And something very interesting is revealed in Chaika.
Yeah.
When she has the bath scene with Akari, it's revealed that she has a line around her neck.
You know what that could be? And I'm assuming a lot of people assume this as well, but it's multiple things. One, I'm just going to go back to another tangent. The ruler of the castle who had the hand, he was shocked to see Chaika.
Right.
To see Chaika, probably recognizing her face.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Now, the Dragoon didn't make any motion of notice, and so we assume, oh, she's not the real one. She has a scar-like implement around her neck, and I'm not trying to say that I'm onto something. Everyone probably figured it out. But I'm thinking, who knows if Chaika herself is dead, and they put Chaika's head implanted on different people's bodies.
That's what you got out of that?
Yeah, I don't know.
What the heck? I didn't get that at all.
Oh, what did you get?
Well, because in the last episode, they obviously said Chaika was captured before and hung. That's a marking from her being hanged. She just resurrected.
Oh, really? They said there was hung?
Yeah, she was hung.
Oh, okay. Well,
or she hung herself.
I'm probably completely wrong then.
So I'm assuming Chaika's just immortal, or that her the guy who gives her information just brings her back to life.
Going off the hung thing, then I assume that the Chaika that's traveling with this party, remember we said all these different theories, like it's not the right Chaika, all that stuff?
Yeah.
I think it is. I think this is actually
the
real
Chaika.
Chaika.
This is my theory, that this is a Chaika who keeps getting resurrected, and every time she's resurrected, she loses a portion of memories, similar to Log Horizon.
Yeah.
So that's why she doesn't have like complete memories. Mm-hmm. And that's why she has a mark around her neck, because she hung herself.
This is why I like Chaika the Coffin Princess, even though it has a harem built in, whatever. Amazing fight scenes, great character, good backstory, good world, great art. It's great. And you know what it reminds me of? Fire Emblem, which is cool.
I love it. It's at near the top of my list. It's so good.
It's really good.
Now, speaking of harem, now we're moving on to If Her Flag Breaks.
And this is where I don't say anything because I dropped this a couple weeks ago.
You know what? This actually was a very interesting episode because it was very, very plot heavy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I'll get to the plot near the end. I'm going to just talk about some comedy stuff that happens. So basically, actually, I can't. I have to talk about some of the plot. What's his face? Sota finds out that he has a death flag. You actually get a hint of it last episode, but it's a very small flash. They don't talk about it at all. This episode, he discusses it, that it's getting larger. So his death is drawing near.
How does he know he has a death flag?
He looks in the mirror and his death flag on his head.
You can see stuff in the mirror?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So, I mean, you would if you watch the series, but
I
hey.
don't care.
So basically, he loses all motivation to do anything for the rest of the sports week because he's like, it doesn't matter if I'm expelled because I'm just going to die anyway. And him losing motivation causes everybody else to lose motivation. And basically, the robot realizes this and she comes to him and says, look, because your motivation is lowered, their motivation is lowered, the only way for you to win is for your motivation to rise again. And he's like, can we talk when we're alone? And he takes her to like this greenhouse and he basically reveals to her that he's going to die. And the robot's like, yeah, I don't really understand the concept of death. I just know that humans don't like it. And he's like, well, and like, this is like the wrong person to talk to. But basically he's like, I'm just going to, okay, what he says here I really, really hate. He says, I'm afraid of dying, but what I don't want most of all is making others sad that I'm gone with my death. That's just, come on, really? That's bullshit. You're like, what, 15 years old? Your biggest fear should be death, not making other people sad with your death.
Yeah, you're not that much of an old soul. At least that's what I got from the anime.
Yeah, like, what the hell? Anyway, he says, I'm gonna leave the dorm tonight so I can, like, minimize the sadness and go die in a hole somewhere. And you can clean up after me. And she's like, sure. And then something happens, and he basically has like he read a letter that the girl who gave him the power, her name is Sakura. She wrote him a letter that he needs to find a knight, a bishop, and like a bunch of chess pieces, like a cleric and all that crap. A ninja, which isn't a chess piece, but whatever.
So the chess pieces are girls for the harem?
Yeah,
okay.
you've pretty much figured it out. But basically, that unlocks like a keyword in the robot, and she basically tells him that. And so basically every girl is a chess... Basically every girl has the name of the chess piece in her last name. I was wondering why the main girl, Nanami, her last name was Blade Knight. I'm like, that's a really weird name for a person. But now it makes sense because she's the knight. And why the robot had ninja in her last name, but it's because she's the ninja. So the last one he has to find...
There's ninja in chess?
No, but that's why I said it's weird. It's a weird version of chess. Anyway, basically after he collects... He's missing the bishop. So you basically know that he has to go find another girl in the harem. And... once he collects all the girls, I don't like saying that word, it sounds weird. Basically, a gate will open, and there's multiple gates, I'm assuming, and if he opens them all, he'll get to the secret of death, which basically gives him the power to destroy any death flag, or at the very least, it gives him the power to destroy his own death flag. So that's the plot that they've laid out. And basically, it's just all thrown at you. And then they go into the sports meet, and he finally has motivation, and of course, in typical anime fashion, it's like whoever wins the last competition will win the entire meet. Like, they'll be MVPs. And so he's like, it's like a giant relay race with obstacles. And he says he's with Nanami at the very last part. It's like a 3-legged race or whatever. Or no, they're handcuffed. They're not tied in the leg. And she says, our chances of winning aren't too good. He's like, no, don't worry. The victory flags have been raised. And before he goes to every girl and he like just like tells them what they want to hear to make them want to win. Like to Rin, he says, Rin, you were so cool when we were younger. I want to see that side of you again. And she's like, I'll win for Sota. And then like he just says stuff like that. And then he goes to Megu, who's the trap, who doesn't want to be a trap. And he's like, Megu, she's like, and he holds out a fist. She's like, don't say another word. And she fist bumps him. And she runs away and the victory flag pops up. And then you just hear her saying, real men don't need to communicate with words.
It's not a her, it's a he. I know that much.
I don't care. You know what? You know what? She's the best character so far. She's not even a girl. I don't care.
I feel bad for him. You're exactly like those girls in the anime.
But it's funny. Anyway.
He just wants to be a boy.
The only flag he can't raise, the only victory flag is Nanami's. And he says, I've never actually seen a flag of hers. And you get a small hint at something with that. So basically, they lose the race. They get second place because Nanami injures herself, gets injured. But then the people are like, oh, we're so moved by your friendship and blah, blah, blah. You get to stay. And then Sota's like, yay. And then everybody's like, yeah, Sota stays. We're all happy. Our harem continues. And then you get basically a kind of, I won't call it a throwaway scene, but a small cutaway scene where you see the main villain of the series. You know she's a villain because you see her in the opening theme. And that's about it. And she's like, so he's the one with the power. And she walks away. So not much comedy in this episode, but very surprisingly heavy on plot.
You still like this anime?
Yeah, I really like this anime.
I guess it's a harem with plot. You don't get that very often, hey?
I prefer my harem without plot, personally. But hey, whatever works. So, still keeping up with it. I'm still enjoying it.
Okay.
Look forward to it every week.
I won't enjoy it.
So next one, because I just talked a lot. I need a break. You can talk. No Game, No Life.
Okay. Well, this one was great. It was the aftermath of the awesome chess game that Sora just dominated. And I loved the way he won the battle. When he cuts away and he has those cool looking eyes, you know what I mean? The eyes where he's like, I'm going to win without fighting, that kind of thing. It's so cool.
Yeah.
I just love the way they interact with each other. But Sora and Shiro always look ahead, and they are always a couple steps ahead of everything. And you know what? I don't really like. We already knew it was going to happen, but the preview of last episode spoiled this episode completely.
I did not watch the preview, actually.
Okay, good. I mean, it showed that both of them become kings.
Oh, well, that's spoiled in the opening theme, though.
I guess you're right, with the crowns on. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways, it's funny because Sora and Shiro, the kingdom of Humanity was going to pronounce Sora as the sole king, and halfway through, Shiro's like, no, I object. you're going to get a harem out of this. And he's like, what are you talking about? And she's like, I should become the king because then you don't have that. And he objects and says, whoa, why can't we both become kings? And the main representative guy's like, that doesn't work very well. So a 3-day battle of, I assume it's Old Maid.
I don't know.
It's a game where if you get the death card last, you lose. They played a ridiculous...
Oh, that's called Old Maid?
I think so.
I've known it as Poison or Donkey.
Okay. Well, 3 days later, they played this game straight. And it's revealed that they always... As good as they are at games, they can never beat each other. And then when they do, the other person just beats them right away. Because they have the same amount of wins, the same amount of losses, and a ridiculous amount of ties. And they're almost dying. And then they read the rules again, and it's like representatives. They could both be kings anyways. So they go up, and it's hilarious, because Sora and Shiro go up on the balcony, and Sora is so nervous. He's like, hello, everybody. And it's just so different from what he's normally.
You know what? I really don't. I mean, I've talked about this before, but I don't like speeches in anime where they're trying, particularly when they're trying to convince a crowd one way or another. I hate those kind of speeches. They're so lame. But this one was bearable. I won't call it good, but it was bearable.
I loved it. I know what you're talking about. Like the Pilot's Love Song speech you hated so much.
I hated that one. I hated the one in Norin. The one in Norin was so bad I had to tab out when I was watching it. I just couldn't do it.
So this speech, I laughed because he pretty much belittled the entire humanity race.
That's true.
Pretty much reducing them to dirt and then saying, we are the best dirt around. And that's all he did. And I loved it because when Shiro supported him and said, we're together, he immediately went back to Epic Sora and just laid out. And he said, we are going to take back the entire world and we're going to declare war on everybody.
It was a really interesting speech where he said humanity is the weakest race, but the way the world is right now, no race can use their strength. And the weak, because they're weak, they train their wisdom. So they're pretty much the smartest or the cleverest race. And because of the way that there's no war allowed anymore, everybody has to use their cleverness. They're pretty much imitating humanity, and humanity cannot be imitated like perfectly.
Yeah.
So they're saying that they have the potential to destroy every other race.
I really like that logic. It just made sense.
It's good logic. I wish it wasn't in the form of speech, but it was good logic.
How else is he gonna give it?
You know what? I don't know.
It's what do you call it? Not incarceration.
You just sent them a text. I don't know.
It's a speech given at a royal inauguration or something like that. You have to give a speech like that. And he won everybody over. And then Steph at the end is like, "What are you doing declaring war on everybody?" And he laid it all out again. They always have a plan.
Yeah, basically because it's like publicly known they defeated someone who's backed by elves who are like in the top of the races. They must be backed by someone who's more powerful than the elves. And so every race will be questioning each other and like be wary of each other. You skipped over my favorite scene in this episode.
I didn't skip over anything.
You did. When he had to do like the kingly like affairs, like the agriculture stuff. That as soon as a guy popped up with like a tree on his head, I was like, oh my god, they're referencing Civ. This is amazing. I love Civ 5. I play so much Civ. And I was laughing my ass off this entire sequence. It was great.
I don't play any Civ, but it was pretty cool. I laughed so hard. Like, he handled all of their domestic issues in like a couple sentences. And it's because he played so much Civ 5 that's all he did.
It's so good.
It's just so funny. And it's pretty funny that he can just handle this stuff with all his gaming knowledge.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So at the end, him and Shiro sitting in a bed, kind of just reading something. And they're saying how they went from nothing, rags to riches pretty much, and how he's more comfortable or less comfortable now than when he was before.
They were reading a book on the various races.
Yes, that's what he was doing. And so Tet, the god, who doesn't like being called god, appears out of nowhere and starts having a conversation with Shiro and Sora. And it's revealed that he brought them here, not because he wanted to save humanity or anything, but because
he wanted a challenge.
And that was the only time he ever lost, even though I think he kind of let them win.
No, I don't think he let them win at all.
But anyways, it's the first time he lost at anything, which was chess. And it's shown again, just like her flag breaks, there's a chess reference. You always saw, and you knew it, kind of figured it out, but always in the distance there's these gigantic monolithic chess pieces. Mm-hmm. And it's revealed that each race is represented by a type of chess piece. And when you collect all the chess pieces, you can challenge the king. That's kind of what he was referencing.
You can challenge God.
So what Sora and Shiro now plan on, it's funny, their checklist is so simple. The first time I ever saw him write a checklist was become king. The next time was conquer the world. Yeah. And then it's defeat God.
It's basically he has to defeat every race in a game gain their chess pieces. With all the chess pieces, he can then challenge God, and if he defeats God, they become God.
And this is episode 4, and I'm really excited to see where this goes.
I think this is a 12-episode series, and I don't think they're gonna. They might beat one race within the 12 episodes, but they're definitely not going to challenge Tet.
Yeah.
So they're leaving it very wide open for a second season.
I hope they do, because it's a really, really good series. I like it.
Yeah, it's so good. I enjoy it every single week. So we're gonna move on to Nanana's Buried Treasure. This was an episode that I didn't expect to be as good as it was.
Yeah, I just didn't expect it to be this good. It was really good.
Yeah, Nanana, I won't say it does action really well, but it does it much better than I anticipated.
Yeah, there's a lot of character reveals and subterfuge connections in this anime that are coming to light now, and a huge portion of this episode was actually revealing who Jugo actually is.
Yeah, so his backstory is revealed, and he's the son of a man who commands basically a criminal network.
A Robin Hood-like network.
Yeah, where they steal from the rich and they give to the quote-unquote poor, and Jugo doesn't believe in the cause, and he says he doesn't actually give to the poor, and therefore he doesn't want to succeed his father, and that's why he ran away.
So in this episode, the last episode, he was confronted by 2 fake police officers who were revealed to be thieves in like the first or second episode. And it turns out that he actually is working with them in order to get the staff back from Yuiga. I think that's what his name is.
Yeah, they're working independently of him in order to get the Nanana's treasure.
Yeah.
But he calls them, the police officers, he called them specifically to help him with the staff.
And so he gives them, we know later, a fake lie detector, the eye
of truth or whatever it's called.
And says it's real, you can check, which is stupid because she didn't look in to see.
Yeah,
if it was
why didn't
checking.
she just check?
I don't know, whatever. But she believed him. Then there's a really interesting, kind of out of nowhere fight scene that appeared between the girl thief and I think Hime is in her name or something. But
the girl who swoons over
the girl we hate,
what do we call it? The club president.
Yuiga, yeah.
I hate her so much, but holy crap, can she put up a fight?
Yeah, she put up a really good fight. And then the battle with Yuiga and Jugo was actually really cool when he was throwing all the magic at him.
Yeah. I was wondering the entire time what his strategy was against his staff.
I don't know. It was weird for Jugo, though, because his character was being revealed very quickly and changed. He was becoming a more darker, serious, confident character.
Yeah.
And during this battle, I could have swore he was going to do something. But then it seemed like he got taken aback a bunch of times. Like, he would push forward with his confidence and get taken aback and push forward. And it felt
because
really
he was
strange.
being hypocritical. Every time he was lecturing Yuiga, he was being hypocritical. Like, your dreams are dumb. And then Yuiga's like, those who give up on dreams are the worst kind of people. And Jugo's the one who gave up on a dream.
We don't know what his dream is. So in the end, apparently, Yuiga didn't research the staff enough and it ran out of magical power. Jugo actually paused before hitting him, but then this random dude came out of nowhere and karate chopped him in the back of the neck.
Yeah, he did.
So apparently, he's really overpowered, we find out.
No, I'm pretty sure Jugo can take him, or Jugo can
Was
take
his
him.
name Jin or Rin or something?
I don't remember.
I don't know.
But I'm pretty sure if Jugo wasn't, blasted by magic, he could have taken him.
Oh, yeah, he got taken a lot of hits. And it's kind of revealed why Jugo is actually so good at taking hits. It's because apparently with his dad's kind of mob thing, Robin Hood thing, he trained every day, and he still now trains every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. The 3 people who are with Yuiga, they get cornered by... Who is that? Ikaku? Who is that?
Who are you talking about?
When they get cornered by all the tanks.
Yeah.
Who is the guy who offered him all the money?
He's the guy who runs the island.
Oh, okay. So the guy who ran an island paid like $100 million.
I don't know what kind. I don't remember what money was. I thought it was 100,000.
Oh, I think it's 100 million. 100 million yen for the staff. He says, I don't steal. I just,
do business, which is dumb because, it's his. But
so
whatever.
He took it back. Those 3 are kind of left alone. We find out that the master detective Tensai actually figured out that Jugo was working with the thieves.
Like 2 episodes ago.
And she announces him as her rival and that she's moving into the same building.
Basically, she wants him to be Moriarty to her Sherlock.
Pretty much. And you know what? It's weird because Jugo to me is the main character and I can't see him as the villain.
I don't see Jugo as evil.
And Nanana doesn't see him as evil either because she wants to help him and says, well, if it's you, you'll do something good with it.
But Nanana calls him evil.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, it's really interesting. There's a lot of dynamics going on.
Yeah. When in the beginning, Tensai's like tricked by the fake Jugo.
Yeah.
And when she goes to hug him, I'm like, that's not something Tensai would do. Like, I was like, this is really cute, but this is really
I was
weird.
expecting her to like kick him or something. You know what I mean? Or do something
It was
weird
just like,
to him.
I was like, Tensai would not be scared. This is like completely out of her character. The fact that I think that like 4 episodes in,
yeah.
well done on your character development. Well done.
Before I forget, there was one thing. I know I'm going to jump really far here, but Captain Earth. There was one. I know. I just remember because you reminded me. There's one scene when they were rescuing the dad where the guys came into the room and the hatch was open.
Yeah.
I was like, why the heck did they leave the hatch open? Something's wrong. They would have clearly closed the hatch if they were going down. And so I like an anime that makes you think something's wrong without being too obvious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I agree. I thought the same thing.
Because obviously later on it was revealed that they didn't go down the hatch and it was a slight. But that's just what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
Sorry for going on a big tangent, but whatever. We'll get there. So yeah, Nanana, amazing like art direction. I like the way the characters look. And I think that is it 12 or 24? Do you know?
No, I have no idea.
Anyways, I just like the way it's going.
I really like the way it's going.
It's definitely middle of my list, near the top. It's just something I look forward to every week.
It's also revealed that the previous tenant of the room that Jugo stays in, the reason she left is because she was scared of being killed by the same person who killed Nanana.
Oh, really?
Nanana.
Yeah. She had black hair. I don't know if we met her yet.
I don't think we've met her yet.
But there's a lot of mystery and good stuff.
There's still a lot of things that haven't been revealed. My one gripe with this episode was that Daruku had no lines, and Daruku is currently my favorite character.
She's so funny, though.
Yeah. See, now I'm doing it to you. That's
Whatever.
what you get.
I just assume she's...
Daruku's hilarious. I love him.
When he appeared out of nowhere, when she was standing on the tank, just like, oh, hello. It's just so funny. Her character's great.
She's so funny. He's my favorite character so far in the series.
We're moving on to the one of 2 anime that we did not like this week, actually. So now I'm going to start this because this was kind of my baby for a little while.
Okay, I was going to start it with a lot of hate, but go
Kawai
for it.
Complex was one of my more favorite slice of life anime this season. And one of our listeners actually was talking about how Usa is really annoying and creepy, and I agree with that. And I'm looking back at Meisano Koku, and the main lead of that anime was also very weirdly strange to the main girl that he was chasing. He was very persistent, very annoying, but it was in a different way. It was cuter. In this anime, Usa's just annoying.
This episode disgusted me. It really rubbed me the wrong way. Usa was getting really creepy. Borderline stalker, if not full-on stalker. And as someone who's had a stalker before, that's not funny. That's not funny at all.
And it's not even cute either. Like
it's played for laughs. It's played for, oh, look, he likes her so much. No, that's really creepy and it's really gross.
Yeah. And all the art style that I really loved, it's getting way too, I don't know, overbearing. It's just, I'm not, like, when I grab my phone halfway through an anime episode and start looking at Twitter or Reddit, I know that something's wrong. And I know that I'm not interested in it anymore. And it's just, nothing's happening. And it's like, there are redeeming moments for me. Like, Ritsu is really cute.
This episode, despite it making me pretty angry, it endeared me to Ritsu.
It's very
She
true.
reminds me very much of Keima from World Galinos, but with books instead of games.
And she's handling Usa very well.
As well as you can, I guess.
I mean, and it was really cute. I mean, it was frustrating.
She's being way too forgiving.
But midway through, Usa actually realized that he was being really creepy. And he freaks out.
But he realized that because the girl told him that.
Yeah, but it's all Sayaka's fault, though. Sayaka is the one who...
No, I'd say it's his fault for being a dumbass.
Well, you know what? I'm not trying to defend now that we're at this point, but I think the anime can go places if they really start working on their relationship. It's really funny. I like Shiro a lot. He's probably one of the main redeeming factors. He's so wise. And the speech he gave to Ritsu is pretty funny, where he's like, I was just like you, trying to find myself. And she's like,
She's like, don't you hate yourself? No, you probably should.
I don't want to become like you. It's pretty funny. Something about the anime.
He does make me laugh, but it really isn't enough to keep me in this series.
I'm going to stick with it. It rubbed me the wrong way, but I'm going to give it another shot.
This anime has the same issue as Inari Kankon Koi Iroha did, where the side characters are significantly more interesting than the main character. I don't like Usa at all. When it's Shiro or it's Ritsu on screen and it's like Usa's not even like near them, I think it's okay. But every time he's on screen, He either annoys me or he bores me.
Yeah. So this anime for this week, I didn't like it very much. Usa really bothered me as a main character.
There was a Hamtaro reference, which was pretty funny.
Oh, Hamtaro. I totally noticed that. See,
She even called him Hamjiro.
That's what endears me to this anime, is because it's really funny and it provides me a lot of laughs, but Usa's bothering the crap out of me, man.
Yeah. Something that I want to talk about, it's not, I mean, it happens in this anime, but it doesn't only happen in this anime. It's where, when a guy likes a girl in anime and someone calls them out on it, they freak out and they really overreact.
Yeah.
I'm not that old, but I'm getting to the age where I really don't like that anymore. I understand why. It's because when I was Usa's 15. When I was 15, I would have reacted very similarly.
Yeah.
I would have denied it. I would have been like, no, of course not. But now we're at the age where we're more mature. We embrace that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, I have feelings for that girl, of course.
Well, it's different. We're in university. We've experienced way more life. There's not that social intensity that high school brings.
But I know people who are our age and somewhat older who don't watch any anime that's based in high school anymore because they can't stand that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they go to seinen and stuff.
I don't really want to become that, because there's good high school anime out there.
High school anime provides me with nostalgia, but it also it's a very romanticized version, especially because we have no idea what it's like. Well, we know a lot of what it's like, sort of, to be in high school in Japan, due mostly because we watch a lot of high school Japanese anime, and I'm assuming it's not anything like the real thing, but it's way different than what we had in high school, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's a nostalgia that brings out a longing for what we could have had in that experience. But man, those freakouts are annoying.
They annoy you too?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's gotten
to the point where I can't stand them anymore.
So we're going to skip one and go back to it. But since we're on the hate train, we might as well jump to Mekaku City Actors right now.
Oh, you want to? That's fine.
We might as well.
Fine with me, dude.
So I still like the art direction, but something about this episode made me so angry.
I hate the main character in this episode. By the way, I don't think his name was dropped in the entire episode. I had to look it up. It's like Anamiya. What the hell's wrong with this guy? I hate him so much.
Why does he fall down so much?
He is such a pushover that it pisses me off.
And it bothers me, like, the art direction and the cuts. Oh, man. I feel it's not nauseous. It's just frustrated. I wanted to, like, I don't know. I don't usually get as mad as Raj does about anime, but this one bothered me to a core level. And the reaction between the characters seems so unnatural. Why was he taking so much of her crap? Why does he like her so much?
I don't see what he sees in Hiyori. It makes no sense. She just berates him constantly. Likes a guy whose name is also not dropped. It's the albino guy who looks like a cyborg. I know he's a main character because he's in the goddamn opening, but we'll find out that later. What the hell is with this character? What is wrong with him? And what's with this episode in general?
I don't know.
Nothing happens in this episode.
They repeat the same thing 4 times.
I hated that so much.
And I understand that there's probably some deep psychological meaning. You had to look it up, what that song was. You know what I've noticed, though? It's really funny, is the anime, either A, they're basing scenes off songs that were written before, and they're making the scene to fit the song, or B, they're making the song after the scene was made. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Like with Momo's scene, she's running down with, we now find out was Anamiya, running around the town with Anamiya, trying to get away. That song fit that scene to a T. It was like it was made for it. So it can go both ways. This one, he had this recurring nightmare, which the drawing style made me so angry. And you know what it reminded me? You're probably going to get mad at me, but Bakemonogatari. Is that how you say it?
Bakemonogatari.
Bakemonogatari.
Oh my god, you're terrible at this.
Bakemonogatari? Is that
No,
right?
just, you know what? Say it however you want.
Monogatari. Okay, that one, made by the same kind of, I think, who's the anime designer, the publisher?
I have no idea.
Whatever. The same art style is on both animes, same as Nisekoi. Nisekoi, I can handle it, but what's with the turning head thing? Like,
yeah, I don't like that either.
I don't know. The turning head, just bothers me.
That isn't, no, it does happen in Bakemonogatari, but it's not, they didn't use it as frequently as this episode did.
I don't know, man. Just, this anime has so much premise story-wise, but if every episode takes the whole half of the episode to repeat, and I understand there's some deep meaning. This girl dies, he's psychologically having issues, or there's this weird cat thing. Like, it was creepy, but something bothered me to my core level. And I know that all you listeners who have this deep insight and are love the psychological anime, you're going to hate us for this. Like, oh, you guys are just unknowledgeable and lame. Well, you know what? If an anime bothers us, we're allowed to say it. It bothered us.
so far, the only good episodes that I've enjoyed are both with Momo in them.
Yeah.
So it has a very large main cast. There's about 10 main characters, 9 or 10 in this series. And if Momo's the only one who can have good episodes, that's not enough for me.
I like the first episode.
This series, along with Kawai Complex, the next episode decides if I drop it.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm going to stick with it just because I thought it had good premise. But man, if... I don't know. Something just rubbed me the wrong way this episode.
Kawaii's coming out in a couple hours from our recording. So by the time this releases, I've probably already made my decision. But yeah, this and Mekaku are on its last legs as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. So those are the two downer episodes this week. So if you agree or disagree with us, we would love to hear your feedback.
Yeah, let's talk about something that's actually good.
Yeah, Captain Earth is actually good at a core level.
Very, very little Daichi in this episode. It's a very Teppei heavy episode, but it was
Teppei and
good.
Akari. It was so good because Daichi did not appear. And when two supporting characters can stand on their own feet and support an entire episode, that's a good season. That's a good series.
Yeah. This was the return of the belly button forte.
Dude,
Hana edition.
It was so funny because when this happened, like she's like, "Oh, she taught me a special technique to make it feel better." My hand leapt from my lap and grasped my face in horror, and I went, "And you know what? I've seen worse in anime. I have. But why is it that the innocence of Hana made me feel so bad?" And I knew Daichi would not like it, and so I went, "Oh no!" And then I love where he says, "What does he say? My resistance?" Or
no, he says like it's more of an attack than a recovery.
She does the belly button thing, but she's wearing a dress, and so you can totally. And I don't even know if.
I mean, worst case scenario, she has no underwear on. Best case scenario,
I think
he just
she does
saw,
because of that scene with the scanning thing. She does whatever. Anyways, I love the adults. They don't look. They're just like, "Oh, jeez Louise."
Yeah.
They look away. Teppei, as alien as he is, just is staring the whole time, off in his own little depressed bat world.
I was like, I'm starting to sense the BL in Teppei. The bromance is a little too strong with him.
I don't think it's too strong. I think Teppei had a lot on his mind.
We might get a Teppei belly button forte.
Oh no, Teppei just isn't like that. What we're finding out is now that Teppei is revealed to be sort of like an alien guy who can power those kilt gangs that come in from space. He's questioning himself. He's like, how can everybody trust me so much? He even has a moment with Hana where he's like, look, you knew that I had these powers. You knew that I was alien. Why did you give me all this leeway? And she's like, I can trust you. You're Teppei. And you should not trust me that much, he says.
He's afraid that the next time he becomes, or he pilots the Kilt Gang, he'll revert into an alien that just wants to eat humans. He doesn't know if he has the control.
Mm-hmm. So this whole anime episode is about Teppei and Akari going into space in order to free a certain prisoner that apparently gave genes to Teppei.
He's basically he's Teppei's biological father. His name's Eiji.
My question is, now we're in a state in the world where we're almost at designer children in this world, and I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how anybody feels about that. But designer children are where you cut and splice at the very core genetic level and give certain people certain abilities. Now I don't know if. I'm just trying to quickly get his name. Eiji? I don't know if Eiji cut and spliced his genes into an egg and wasn't the one who fertilized it. Because he was the one who was referencing a dad and a mom. He said, your dad and your mom loved each other this age.
I think...
Was he just talking about himself in the third person?
I don't know. Well, I mean, he's talking about himself in the third person as dad.
Maybe.
But the mom herself could have been either just an alien egg or could have been the alien themselves that he just decided he wanted to get with.
Moko, or whatever her name is? I think her name is Moko.
I doubt it's the same girl because she didn't recognize Teppei. Teppei looks exactly like his father.
Yeah, so, yeah.
You know what? When they wake him up from cold sleep, the first thing Teppei says is calm down, and the guy looked completely calm. What the hell was that?
He was more calm than he should have been. He just looked around. And I like how they dealt with this wake-up
He just
situation.
wakes up and he's like, and then Teppei's like, calm down. Like, what the heck? He didn't do anything.
So leading up to this, Teppei and Akari make it into the spaceship. Akari sees her mom, and Akari's weird with this. Her mom, I don't know if something's going on, but her mom is very happy to see her.
Yeah.
But every time her mom shows any kind of affection, Akari kind of shells up.
Yeah, something happened between them.
I assume something happened. I mean, it's revealed, and we kind of knew this, but there's two factions on Earth now.
But now we know what they mean.
Yes, finally. I was so confused. So the Kilt Gang caused a huge threat. Sort of like Ender's Game, where the bug race was coming in. But, and the world united. This time, the world did not unite. It actually split into two factions. One called the Intercept faction, and one called the Arc faction. The Arc faction, as always, is the Arc kind of like the Noah's Ark or whatever. They want to put a bunch of elitist Earthlings and shove them into space. You know, like they always do. Mm-hmm. Kind of like 2012. It's not a good movie.
Also happened in Simpsons.
Oh yeah, really?
Yeah,
everything happened in Simpsons.
It's true. Nice think.
So,
and then the Intercept faction obviously just wants to intercept the aliens.
They probably just want to stay on Earth and defend themselves.
They're the ones who built the Earth engine.
Now, Daichi and crew are really closely associated with the Intercept faction and the Arc faction. Now, are they subjugate? Is there subjugated Salty Dog? Like, are they together?
I'm pretty sure Salty Dog.
And is that weird Jarvis-like creature thing? Is that part of Arc?
It's either part of Arc or it's on the alien planet. I'm not too sure.
I think it's part of the Arc faction. I don't know. I don't know where that Jarvis thing
there's
fits.
There's still a lot that needs to be explained in this anime.
But thankfully this episode tied a few things together. The one thing about Captain Earth that was bothering me was I couldn't fit it together, which is good. I'm glad that I couldn't right away, but I like that they're slowly starting to stitch the pieces together.
This episode, it hit me in the feels. I'm a big sucker for father and son like relationship stuff.
So Teppei and Eiji, they united, and like I was saying earlier, there's a scene where the hatch was left open, and there's another group trying to get Eiji, while Akari and Teppei are trying to get him as well.
Basically, Arc faction spies.
Yes. So who are subjugate to Salty Dog, who are then connected to whatever. Which is strange that Arc faction itself would try to kidnap something that's already in their base. So I don't know if Salty
I don't think that's an Arc faction base.
Yeah, it is. The mom works for the Arc faction.
No, she doesn't.
Yes, she does.
Then why do they have the Earth engine in the base? That makes no sense.
But it was clear. What? I thought the mom worked for Arc.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, maybe I'm completely wrong.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was like her dad works for Intercept and her mom works for Arc.
No. Pretty sure they work for the same people.
Do you think Arc works with the aliens?
No, I doubt it.
I don't know. I'm confused. I'll figure it out next episode. So anyways, there's this whole thing. They go outside. Teppei is super cautious of his dad because he keeps calling himself his dad, and he's getting frustrated because
he gets mad every time he grimaces every time he calls himself dad.
Because he never had a dad, right? He never knew what that was like. But apparently, Eiji felt bad too because he gave him this really,
this was such a sweet moment,
a good hug, and he's like, "I feel horrible. I regret it all the time. I was never even able to read you a picture book." And Teppei is like, "This isn't what it's about." You know, like I never had a dad. I don't even know who you are.
It should be noted that Eiji took a bullet for Teppei.
Yeah, he did. And which made Teppei mad, or confused at least.
It confused him, definitely.
Yeah. So what happened was Eiji says, "Look, I'm more wounded than I thought. I can't really help you guys anymore." He gets taken in by the prisoners, but it was found out all along that Daichi's uncle, father of Akari... Wait, does that mean they're cousins? I guess that would mean...
Yeah, they're cousins.
Okay. It shows that it was all his plan all along, and all he wanted was Teppei to meet Eiji. It was kind of cute. There's a moment in the corridors where... Akari runs into Teppei and she has this like...
That was cute. And
I like that.
His dad's like, "So you two boyfriend and girlfriend?" And Teppei's just like a stern no. And then Akari's face...
She got so mad. It's so good.
He's like, when I was your age, I was already in love with your mom. And I was like, yeah, good wingman.
You know, there's an anime that I'm totally forgetting about. It's on the tip of my tongue, but I got to about episode 20 of it.
Explain it.
I know I always do this, hey? It's an anime series where they're in space... And a girl goes up to space and joins a crew who are cleaning up space because debris around Earth got way too big. And they're in this cleanup crew. I'm forgetting. Anyways, everyone, people know about it.
Sounds a lot like Gundam.
No, it's not Gundam. There's this group of people who ride around and collect debris of satellites and stuff because there was one moment where an interspace flight got hit by one screw and destroyed the whole plane because it was traveling so fast.
If you know what this anime is, please tweet us at J&B Podcast.
That'd be really kind. This reminded me of that anime because there were moments where they built... I love this episode because it was so macro. The entire episode was inside the space station pretty much, and they built the world of the space station so well. They had so many cuts of them opening doors, it was ridiculous. But it showed that the spaceship was pretty big, the space station. I don't know. I just have a lot of good stuff to say about the story and...
There's a reason it's at the top of our list. It's just consistently really good.
Yeah.
It hasn't had a bad episode yet.
Speaking of not having a bad... So
his dad, in the end, he escapes. So all pretty much according to plan. Eiji will probably make a reappearance eventually, tell him what his mom is or whatever.
But we're feeling
I love the connection between Teppei and Akari and Hana and Daichi. It's really good.
And they're really good at feeling each other's emotions. And Hana kind of is the emotional sponge of everybody.
Her being sad at Daichi, like... basically being hurt, it was just, I was like, yes. Yes.
It's good. I don't know, you can watch this and not feel tense because you're worried if it's going to slip up. You know what I mean? You just know that Captain Earth's going to have a good episode every week.
You know, it's gonna, if it slips up, we're gonna have to eat our words. It's gonna suck.
Okay, that's okay.
I hope it doesn't. This is really good.
So that was Captain Earth. Excellente.
Moving on to Haikyuu now, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Haikyuu also, we don't talk about this one much plot wise because it's moving very slowly, but it is good. This last episode was really good.
The amount of bromance in this episode has reached Kuroko levels.
But, that's exactly what I was going to say. It reminds me of Kuroko. Because there's two people joining a team who are generally good themselves, but they bring such good skills to the team that everyone's shocked. I mean, in this episode, it's revealed that, I need to get these names real quick. Give me a second here. Kageyama, it's revealed his past. He was so intense with what he expected his teammates to do, that he drove them away. He forced them to say, look, man, you're nuts. We're out of here. And the coach benched him. That's why the blonde guy named, I'm just going to grab that name real quickly here, Koshi? Yeah. The blonde guy named Koshi keeps berating him with the name King. And Hinata is like,
No, it's not Koshi. Koshi's a nice guy. It's Ki? K?
Oh, sorry.
I think it's K.
K. I wrote Ki. So K, is berating him with the name. But Hinata's like, why do you hate that name? Like, doesn't it mean that everyone is afraid of you? And K is like, no. That name was given because he was so arrogant.
I really like that they show the reason for his arrogance. He comes off as arrogant, but he doesn't actually mean it.
He just wants so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have the time to give him the thought process behind his words. But because of that, his words come out very harsh.
And this is where I love the relationship between Hinata and Kageyama. Because Hinata is he's just classic shonen. Just so straightforward, so innocent, so pure. He's like, look, man, I'm not very good at anything. I can run, I can jump. And even Kageyama says you have incredible athleticism and I'm so jealous.
He actually says he's jealous, yeah.
So, and Hinata's just, I will get there.
I love how Kageyama says, I'll use your athleticism. He uses them like weapons.
And what happened before that was they were like, you know what, we're going to do a quick shot. We're going to do this. And Hinata was like, yeah, we'll do it. So what was happening was, I believe Kageyama was just throwing the ball. He's like, I'll get there. So he's boof. Hinata couldn't make it. He was trying, it doesn't work. That's when we reach the point where I think Koshi says, look, man, you're amazing. Everyone knows this. I'm a setter, you're a setter, you impress me. But you're not using your teammates to the fullest of their potential. You could do this better. And then Kageyama kind of has this click moment where he's like, you know what? Just jump as fast and as high and as hard as you can where nobody is, and I'll get you that ball.
Yeah, so instead of having, what's his name? Instead of having Hinata go to the ball, he's going to try to get the ball to go to Hinata.
And the first awesome shot is where he gets to set, and he looks, and Hinata's in the air, and Kageyama does this cool little, tracking thing. Boom! And then Hinata gets there and spikes it straight down.
It was really cool, because he has to aim the ball where his hand is going to be, because he's spiking while the ball is coming to him.
He told Hinata just spike. And he's like, how can I spike? Just nothing. Just spike. And the cool thing was, I think his name's Daisan, the captain. He's like, holy crap, guys. Hinata's eyes were closed. And what I like about this is these characters aren't the kind of anime sports characters who go, yes, very powerful, very normal. No, these guys are like, what the? This is volleyball, man. You closed your eyes and spiked. And the cool thing was, he didn't do it every time after that. They sucked.
The entire game is pretty much them practicing that. They've gotten right maybe 2 times.
Yeah, and near the end they were getting... And the coolest thing was the sync up they had where they did it again. Like, yes! Like both of them. And I can totally tell that they're developing a really cool relationship.
Them both screaming and yelling in victory very much reminded me of Sawamura from Ace of Diamond.
Yeah.
I love Sawamura's yell when he strikes somebody out, especially where the game is right now.
He's so passionate.
It's just, he's just like, oh, like he's so excited. And Ace of Diamond, I know we're going off a tangent, but whatever. It does this thing where it freezes the scene like it's a manga panel. But they still have voices and music going over that. So when Sawamura's screaming, it's just like that, and it really works. It's a really good effect. Haikyuu doesn't do that effect, but it's still very effective in Haikyuu.
Yeah, I love it. I think this series is going to go great places. It feels really good, and it's one of those breath-holding animes. I don't know how to explain it, but you get an adrenaline pump watching it. It happens to me in sports anime all the time.
That has not happened.
It happened to me.
No.
I was like, oh
It happens to me in Kuroko, and it happens to me in Ace, but it hasn't happened to me in
Haikyuu is getting
yet.
up there for a sweet.
When they actually play a real game, it'll probably do it.
Oh,
for me.
it's so good. My question is, how are they going to develop special powers for everyone else? It's not as dynamic as basketball, and it's not as team oriented as. I don't know.
Okay, if they can make someone as OP as Aomine, I'm pretty sure they can make someone equally as OP in volleyball.
I guess so.
They can make someone who can float in the air in volleyball. They did that in Kuroko and Ice Shield.
We'll see where this goes. I'm really excited for it. Now, baby steps. It's actually going somewhere. I had hope. This is my baby, man. I'm babying baby steps as it walks into the top of my list.
Kawai was your baby, and that's fallen flat on its face.
Some babies die.
You're terrible. I was about to say you're a terrible father, but now you really are a terrible father.
I'm sorry. That was really bad.
If your fiance is listening to this podcast, you might want to rethink this wedding.
Some babies also live.
I'm pretty sure most babies live.
So, anyways, baby steps. A-chan.
You know what?
Is awesome.
I've liked this episode a lot more than I liked the previous episodes.
Good.
Because something happened.
It's world building, man.
It's not. No, look. Before I said things would happen, but there wasn't enough. Finally, something has happened. Not only did they finish the whole trying to receive a ball or whatever, receive a set, but they also hyped the hell out of the next game.
Look.
The entire episode. I enjoyed it.
This is something that you didn't expect, but A-chan actually is really good, and it's revealed why he's good. He has really good calculating eyes and a smart mind.
What do you mean I didn't expect that? I expected that in the first episode.
No, but you said he doesn't have any skills. You said he's kind of meh.
He's just a hard worker. It's true.
No, but he has more than that. He actually has a special power.
No, he doesn't.
Have you ever seen a tennis ball fly? I know it's an anime.
I have.
It's super difficult. And he wrote down the trajectories of every single serve that he did.
But he only knows how to do that because he does nothing but study for the last 15 years.
He did so much tracking that he was so precise that he actually scared Kazumi. No, it's not Kazumi. What the heck am I talking about?
Kazumi.
He scared Takuma into doing a slice serve. And those are cheap, man. My dad does those to me sometimes when I play him in tennis. It's lame. You can't like slice serves are really cheap.
I did like that the coach said that was him admitting defeat.
Yeah, and Takuma knew it, and he just left and didn't even.
He got mad.
Oh, he did.
It's pretty cool.
But I'm excited for his match. I don't know where it's gonna go.
I meant to say this 2 weeks ago or last week, whenever we first talked about this. What the hell is with this guy's haircut? A-chan. What? It's like I don't even know how to describe it. It's like he has stalagmites or stalactites.
Okay, if you look back at any sport/shonen character. Haircuts don't matter. It's just a defining trait. It lets you point out who is who from what.
But A-chan's like drawn, I'm gonna say roundly. Like his face is kind of round. Like that's how I do. And he's not. They draw a lot of people really ugly in this anime.
I don't know. The big nose guy.
The guy who calls him Aniki.
Yeah,
he's pretty.
His
ugly.
nose. He's got that orifice nose thing. I don't know.
And his best friend, he's pretty ugly too.
But it's cool. It's just classic. Like
what I like most.
Nothing's
so far,
more ugly than Initial D though.
But Initial D makes it work. Anyway, what makes it work so far, or like what I'm really liking, is the relationship between A-chan and Natsu. And the fact that Natsu, I'm pretty sure at this point, has fallen in love with him. But she doesn't know it. Similar to how A-chan didn't know he was in love with her.
Well, that's because Natsu is super focused. She's one of the... I don't think...
Which is why she likes him.
I think it's going to turn into kind of a Eye Shield thing where the girl who is kind of managing the team... She's so focused on managing the team and her commitment to... I forget his name, the main character of Eye Shield.
Senna?
Yeah. Her devotion to Senna overshadowed any other objective.
You mean the girl he called Nesan or whatever?
Yeah. She was
but she was never love interest.
No. But she was with
Hiruma. They got together at the end.
I know they did. But she was so focused on her thing that she didn't have any time for romance. And I think that's kind of what
No, but they had a lot of romance. Like really subtle romance in Eye Shield.
I guess
we could talk all day about Eye Shield.
So I really like how Baby Steps is going.
You're going to try to throw another baby pun while we're still here?
That pun was horrible. I feel like I want to crawl up in a hole.
A baby-sized hole? I can't think of any baby puns.
No, I don't know either. So Baby Steps is really good. And I think this is where...
I'm liking Baby Steps a lot more now that stuff is happening. So
I really like sports anime, though. That's the main thing.
I love sports anime as well.
them a lot.
Okay. So now we're moving on to what's next.
Something that you're going to talk about.
Okay, I've been calling it Valkyrie of Darkness. I realized the other day it's actually Valkyrie in the Darkness. So I've been saying it wrong.
Oh.
But, Brynhildr in the Darkness. So I just want to say the opening theme for this anime is really good. It gets me so pumped. It has no lyrics. It's like techno, dubsteppy. I don't know my music, but whatever. It's really it gets me pumped up, which sucks because in the first 2 or 3 episodes, it just fell flat on its face, in my opinion. Until I actually got the gore that I wanted, it just didn't do anything for me. But this episode's a lot better because basically I was wrong that the switch was gonna bring Kuroha back to life. I completely forgot that the witch they were fighting had a second power, which is to turn back time. So our main character named Ryota stabs the witch with like a lead. It's not a pipe, but it's like a spike kind of thing. And she basically, he's like, you have to turn back time or you're dead. And then she kills him. She cuts him up. He's dead. And she's like, well, I'm gonna die. So she reverses time, and then everybody's alive again. And so that like reversing time takes up a lot of magic. So she like she hangs up, so she can't use any magic for like another 24 hours. And then she basically ends up dying. Her thing ejects itself because she failed, and they were actually gonna let her live. They weren't gonna kill her. And she ejects, she dies, she melts, and then Ryota finds out that the harness. This is really weird. Basically, the harness is broken English for her nest because he finds out that there's a green parasite that's like, it kind of looks like a slug if you stomped on it and it was kind of flat, but has a lot of ridges on it and has 2 eyes, and it's like crawling to the harness or her nest. And he's like, harness, like harnessed magic? He's like, no, her nest. I'm like, they used broken English to describe it. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Anyway, AG, wrong one. Ryota sees this green parasite, and suddenly dozens of eyes open up on it, and like a hole on top of it opens up in its spiky mouth, and it screeches at him. And AG starts screaming. I was horrified. Like, this was actually genuinely scary. And like Ryota screams, and he does the only logical thing, which I applaud him for doing. He stomps on it until it stops screaming. He kills it by just stomping on it. And he's like, what the hell was that? He realizes that thing is basically their source of magical power. It's a parasite.
That's kind of gross.
It's disgusting, and it lives inside their neck. And Kuroha...
That's kind of like Matrix, a little bit.
Well, except there's no parasites in Matrix.
Well, there's that thing that they dropped on that guy.
What thing?
Like, there's a moment where he strapped to a chair, and they had this like slug thing that went inside one of the guys.
I do not remember that.
Oh, I'm not really that big of a Matrix fan, but I remember that.
So basically, when they leave, they get their medicines and stuff. Kuroha gives him a syringe, and he says, what's in that? She says, it's a baby alien. It's the egg of a baby alien.
Slug thing?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
So basically, he could theoretically turn himself into a magician. I'm assuming he's not working on men because every magician we've seen so far is a girl.
That could just be a Japanese thing.
Anyway, so, and then she gives him a, like, I don't know what it is. It's like a pal pad or whatever. And do you remember what those things were called where, like, before they had tablets, it's like, it kind of looked like a phone. It had like a big screen and you had like a stylus.
Palm Pilots?
Palm Pilots. That's what she gives him. And Eiji, I keep calling him Eiji. Ryota is like, you know what? I gained some respect for him for stopping on that thing. And I also gained some respect for him for what he does here. He's like, this Palm Pilot probably has information on the alien egg. But if I turn it on, it'll probably track my signal. So I should do it in another city. I'm like, you know what? That's really smart. That's a very smart thing to do. And then he goes to the lighthouse where Kuroha and the girl who can't move at all, what was her name? Kana, where they're living. And turns out the girl who hacked the computer in the last episode, Kazumi, came and she like split her last pill with him because they were both melting. And then like they both get their pills, they're all good. Kazumi's like, yeah, I'm going to live here for now. And then, you know what? Okay, before this happens, before she says I'm going to live here, Ryota says there's an open air bath you can go to, like an onsen or something. And Kuroha's like, I don't feel like going. He's like, all right, I'll go. And then he's like, man, I wish Kuroha came with me so I could see her boobs. I'm like, you know what? That's a very legitimate reason. And then Kazumi comes behind her. She's like, oh, you want to see her boobs, huh? And Ryota's like, oh, God. And then she starts like berating him. And then he turns around and he sees her like fully naked. It's censored by like lens flare. And you know, a bunch of comments were like, of course it'd be lens flare. I'm like, yeah, of course it'd be lens flare. And you know what? She's really clever. This was really clever use of fan service because she said, because you saw the naked body, my naked body, you're going to have to pay a price. And he's like, what's the price? She's like, I'm going to let you off easy and the price is going to be letting me live in a lighthouse. And I'm like, that's a really clever use of fan service. Mm-hmm. And then like, she's actually a pretty good wing woman where she convinces Kuroha to come to the bath with her. And then like, she makes the guy trip, makes Ryota trip, and then he falls over and he grabs like onto Kuroha's boobs.
That would never happen.
No, but you know, anime logic.
Is this turning into a harem?
It's absolutely a harem.
Oh my gosh.
But I don't know. None of the girls.
How many harems are there this season?
It doesn't seem like any of the girls really have any interest in other than Kuroha, but it very easily could become a harem because he's surrounded by women. Then again, one of them can't move. But he turns around, or like he grabs onto Kuroha. He's like, and then I'm like, Kazumi's like, see you later, and she leaves. I'm like, dude, awesome wing woman, like well done. And you know, because they reverse time, he found out Kuroha is actually the Kuroneko from the past because she has the moles, but now they're on the side of her boob. But because time was reversed, he doesn't remember seeing that.
Oh.
So the audience knows, but he doesn't. That's really goddamn stupid. I really don't like that they're doing that.
That's called dramatic irony.
I don't like it at all. But basically, later he finds out, or later he says to himself, I was so busy groping her that I forgot to look for the moles. I'm like, you know what? It's fine. Like,
understandable.
It's extremely understandable.
You know what, bro? You're okay.
And then, freaking this, you know, I said he was getting.
Sounds like a season that I don't want to pick up.
It's fine.
Okay.
I still like it.
I'm okay with your reviews every week.
Kazumi says, I'll be seeing a lot of you. You know, I said I was respecting him, gaining respect for him for being smarter. I lost it all after this because he goes back to being an idiot. He's like, what do you mean you're going to be seeing me more often? She's like, oh, wait till tomorrow. He's like, oh, wonder what's going to happen tomorrow. I'm like, really? You can't come see this coming? And then she transfers into his class.
Oh my goodness.
I'm like,
harem.
How do you not see this coming? Like, really? It's so obvious.
No, but honestly though, how many harems are going to come out this season?
I hope
how
more.
many animes that they weren't harems before are going to become harems? I don't know.
I need more harem.
I don't need any more. Can't there be something legitimately
You're not
good?
even watching this. It doesn't matter.
But it makes me mad. I mean, Chaika.
I'd be happy.
Come on.
I'd be so happy. Anyway, so she's in a school. She says something like, I hacked the system so they can't know that I'm from whatever. And then basically the episode ends with the main guy who like sees over the witches. He's like, yeah, I sent in a double A+ witch, which is like, I think the highest they have is like a rank B or a rank C. That's what Kuroha is. So the double A+ comes. She's like, really, did you ever watch Haruhi? Suzumiya Haruhi?
I watched the first episode.
Do you remember the girl with big boobs and long hair?
It's probably why I stopped.
I think her name was Mikuru. Yeah, basically this girl looks a lot like Mikuru. She's the big boobed, like really bubbly, innocent character. And she's like, yeah, I'm going to sign up. And she's obviously the witch. It shows the thing on her back. And she's the double A+, meaning she's like really strong. But the fact that she's in the opening theme with the rest of them being all happy means that nothing bad's going to happen. So that's where the episode ends.
I mean, OP.
You know what? This got a lot better than it was two weeks ago. It was so much better. I no longer think it's absolute garbage. Now I actually kind of look forward to it.
You know what? I'm going to take a step back to Nisekoi for a second here. Okay?
Go for it.
And there are a ton of other animes that do this. But when an anime production company decides that their fans deserve more than just one opening that's static and stays the same through each one and has spoilers, things like Nisekoi that have a really good, catchy anime, but then they take the time to renew the opening when a new character has been revealed and place them in the opening alongside everyone else. That's a really good thing to do.
Another anime that did that was Arpeggio of Blue Steel, I think it was called.
Yeah, I watched. Yeah, that was,
you watched that because I told you, they did that every time a new ship was revealed. They would add them to the opening and the ending.
That reminds me, and we're going on this thing again. Arpeggio, whatever, of Blue Steel was the first anime that I watched straight through that was completely CGI.
And it was
good.
It was done well, but it was kind of jarring.
Now,
at first.
There's an anime that we didn't talk about this season because it dropped so fast off our list that we forgot about it.
Sidonia, which is where that bear creature you were thinking of last time. Thank you, fan who pointed that out to us.
Now, Knights of Sidonia, it was intensely brutal. Like when he broke his finger, that was disgusting.
Yeah.
And when he anyways, I just couldn't get into it, and I bet it got really good. If any of you have found the series to be really good and you're thinking, why aren't we reviewing it or recapping, can you please, comment or on the Reddit post that we'll do or tweet on @JMB Podcast or something, because there's just so many we don't really want to get into it.
There's no way that anime got any better. I would be blown away.
Was that on Crunchy?
No.
Okay. I don't. If it's on Crunchy, I don't care anyways.
What?
I'll get there.
You just invalidated everything you just said to our audience.
I know, but I'll get there.
See, this is why I'm the host.
Yeah. No, co-host. You said co-host.
I said you're the co-host.
You said we were on the same terms. You said, man.
I say a lot of things, Spencer. I say a lot of things.
So, speaking of saying a lot of things, this week on The World is Beautiful, did you watch it?
It did come out.
The newest one?
Yeah.
Like the one after this week on?
Yeah.
Oh,
you didn't watch it, did you?
Because you watch all my Crunchies and it says coming up next, and I don't know.
Yeah, I watched it. Basically,
so I didn't watch it.
It was good. I liked it. Basically, Nikkei barely escapes a guy who were trying to kill her. Turns out...
hold on.
What?
I haven't seen this yet. What am I supposed to do?
That's your fault.
You're going to spoil the whole thing.
Yeah, now you have to sit here and listen to me.
No. Okay, wait, no, I'm leaving.
We're not going to... Really?
I don't want to hear this.
But I need someone to talk to.
No, you'll figure it out.
Oh my god. Fine, get out of here.
I need to know. I don't
Unbelievable.
know,
Unbelievable.
You didn't give me enough time.
What the heck? You had all day to watch this. Wow. Okay, so we're alone now. Basically, Nikke very nearly avoids the guys who are trying to kill her. Turns out Levy is there, it's Levy. And he comes and kind of rescues her, and he's like, okay, we have to find a way out. Like, we'll do this together. She's like, doesn't you being here invalidate the ceremony? He's like, I knew that they would try something, and I needed to save you. And so, basically, they're at like a small... I would call it, it's like an underwater stream, and she uses that to make fog, and they use that to escape. But someone actually manages to follow them out, and Nikke doesn't see him, and he starts swinging his sword, and he cuts the necklace of the ring that she was wearing in half, and Livy draws his sword and just wrecks this guy. He destroys him, and he's about to kill him, and the look on his face is so intense. And Nikke like grabs onto him. She's like, no, please stop. And even the guy's begging for his life. He's just begging. And Nikke ends up stopping him. He grabs her hand and they run. And he won't stop running. He won't listen to what she's saying. And when they finally stop, he grabs her and he braces her and he says, I was so scared. I was so scared of losing you. And he's like, you're the one thing I can't bear to lose. I can throw away my throne. I can throw away my royalty. I can throw away anything as long as I get to keep you. And you just see their connection build that way. And he's really in love with her now. Like, she's really won him over. And she gets very sad that she made him worry. Like, he was holding all this inside. And she just made him worry so much. And he says, it's not that I don't trust you. It's that I don't trust anybody else. And you're the only one, like, I can trust kind of thing. So basically, they still want to get married. They want to get engaged, but they don't have a ring. They don't know what to do. And they come up with this plan. They go to the engagement ceremony. They have the whole thing. And basically what they do is Levy says that she'll form a ring around the sun because the sun is the only thing that's worthy of the king who's conquered so much. So she kind of forms a ring of clouds around the sun. It's very pretty. And everybody's like, oh, this is so pretty. Like, Nikke is great. And basically, it freaks out the guy who that Levy almost killed. And he says, no, Levy was underground that night. And then suddenly, it's revealed that they're trying to kill her last night. And that invalidates... I don't remember the main bad guy's name, but it invalidates what he was trying to do. And then, like, he's up for punishment now, and, like, the engagement's, like, real now. So basically, the person who was holding the engagement says their engagement is legitimate, and the assassination invalidates Levy's invalidation. So, actually, Nikke gets the permission to punish the guy who's the one who tried to assassinate her. And all she does is she clocks him in the face, and then she bends down and she's like tries to get him back up. She's like, I don't want any like bad blood from this engagement. I want everybody to be happy. So, and Levy says, if you want something, you have to take it for yourself. If you want more power for your church, you need to grab it for yourself. I don't care what you do. And the guy's like, you really have changed for the better. And he's kind of won over the side. So it's really happy ending, really warm. Nikke makes a rainbow for Levy one more time as kind of like to complete the ring. Because the ring she has is now broken in half. And the rainbow kind of completes it in the sky. It's very nice. Very sweet. And that's more or less where the episode ends. There was actually something really funny where there's the council that you see Levy with sometimes. They're called the Four Gods, Levy being one of the gods. And the butler, the right-hand man of Levy, is always he was giving exposition, saying that like one guy's really great at military, one guy's really good at tactics and stuff. And then you cut to the council, and they're talking about how great boobs are compared to every other part of the woman's body. It's just hilarious. So Spencer, welcome back. I can't believe you abandoned me for an entire section there.
Hello.
Next time, watch anime at appropriate times.
I didn't... Well, I asked you last night, Rajpreet, can you please send me the list of anime that has the days of the week that it comes out
Yeah, you know
on?
what? If you didn't abandon me in the last game we played, I would have given you the list.
I didn't want to play. I was tired.
We won. I won that game.
I'm glad you did. Probably because I wasn't there.
I could have carried you.
Can you please send me the list now?
I'll send you the list.
I would have known that this anime came out today because I'm lazy, and I probably didn't even come out today, but I just...
It did come out today.
See? I would have known if you didn't plow ahead of my queue on Crunchy and make all of them watched already.
I woke up after you today too, and I still managed to watch all the anime before you.
Notice how clean my house is?
Want to see how clean my house is?
You don't do the cleaning.
That's true.
I do. So I had to clean instead of watch anime.
You can do both at the same time.
Anyways, so I'm assuming we're done, and I hope you enjoyed that section.
It was a good episode. It was very sweet. I'm looking forward to where they're going next.
Me too. So now we're moving on to the Irregular at High School Magic, blah, blah, blah. People just call it Maho. Or
the Regular Magic High School. But before we talk about that, I want to go back to Kawai a little bit. Did you watch the preview?
Nope.
Actually, I don't even know if there was a preview. I don't even know if it got that far. Basically, I saw some screenshots for the next episode because it comes out of Crunchy later than it comes out other places. It's going to be a fan service episode. Yeah, you're going to like this one.
This might be another nail in the coffin for this one. But so, I'm not going to give up just for that.
Okay, Irregular Magic High School. Did you watch this one?
I kind of iffy on the fence. I didn't even watch the last episode. The one that you said they got rid of the OP and the ED just because there's so much talking.
Did you not watch it? I'm pretty sure I walked in the room while you were watching it.
I half quarter and then gave up. I'm pretty much going to sit back and let you talk about this again until I catch up. I'm very busy. So basically in this episode, the last episode they set up the main villains of what's going to pretty much be in the series. There's I think they're called Blanche. They're basically an anti-magic group. And so this episode, a bunch of people take over like the broadcast building and they're like, we want equal rights for the weeds and the blooms, yada, yada, yada. And basically those guys are arrested, but they say, we agree, we also want equal rights, especially the student council president. She very much wants no discrimination. So she holds up an open forum and basically she wrecks them in debate. Every point they have, they're like, we want equal rights. She's like, what specifically do you want equal rights? They're like, our clubs don't get as much funding. She's like, this club is by weeds only, and it has one of the most funded clubs. They're like, oh. And like, she just wrecks him. And then like, she just goes and gives a speech. Like, she's like, my very final task as student council president will be to, there's a law. You watched the episode where it's explained, where the student council has to be appointed from the Blooms, the class 1 students. And she's going to overturn that before her time is up so that it can be taken from both Blooms and Weeds. Mm-hmm. And like everybody's on her side. They're like, yeah, this is great. All the Blooms are like, yeah. And all the Weeds are like, yeah, this is great. Because the Blooms really like the student council president. Even the guy who Tatsuya, I think his name is Tatsuya. Yeah, it is. The guy who Tatsuya defeated in the fight they had, even he is like, okay. It's cool. This funny thing happens where, anyway, I'm gonna get to that. This happens next. So basically, like, everything's nice. I'm like, you know what? Because before this, a black truck rolled up and like people started falling out of the truck. I'm like, okay, I know this is going. So suddenly, terrorist attack on the school. They start shooting RPGs, like shooting grenades at the school. Like, why are you attacking students? This is pretty dumb of you. But anyway, they shoot a gas bomb in the school and gas starts spewing out. And then the guy who Tatsuya fought with wraps up in magic and shoots it back outside. And then Tatsuya looks at him. He's like, yeah, good job. And the guy's like, huh. Like he goes totally soon. And it's like, some guy commented, he's like, it's not like I wrapped it up for you, Buck. Like, this guy's totally soon for Tatsuya. It's lovely. So basically, Tatsuya like tackles some guys, like the rest of the disciplinary committee like tackles people. People start evacuating from the building. Who would be dumb enough to attack a high school filled with elitist magic users?
The people who are against magic also use magic, but in this case, they're just using guns. Like, okay, a bunch of guys, they're wearing masks, and they storm the building that they're in with like some rifles. And then the girl who runs the discipline committee, she like waves her hand, and like their masks like contract, and they suffocate, and they like pass out. And I was like, this is what happens when you go against magic with guns. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? Anyway, the episode ends basically with Tatsuya's like, I'm going to go to this building because this is what they're attacking, and I'm going to go beat everybody up. Because we know Tatsuya's pretty OP at this point.
And we assume that he's a robot at this point?
Yeah, we've already assumed he's a robot. And his sister's like, I'm going too. And Tatsuya's said, like, her magic power for combat is really high.
She has, like, AoE skills, right?
Yeah, so she's really strong. We just haven't seen her fight yet. So Tatsuya's like, all right, cool. Because I'm pretty sure, like, while he, like, goes up front, she can, like, charge her spells. Like, it's like how when we play Tails, I always play the caster, and, like, sometimes you play melee.
Well, I like going into, like, the stronger characters who really have no other skills but to fight. Yeah.
So basically, that's where it ends. I was going to mention something that I can't remember anymore. The way they arrest the people who were in the broadcast room, the girl who's been talking to him, her name is like Mibu. He calls her Mibu Senpai. She gave him her phone number, and he calls her up. He's like, so are you in the room? She's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, do you want to come negotiate? She's like, okay. And then like she opens the door, and then they tackle everybody. And then he says, I don't know why they use English for that, but he's like, I have her private number. And then like his sister just grabs onto his back. She's like, I'm assuming you're going to tell me how you got her number and why you were keeping it. And like the look on his face is like, oh, not this again.
Yeah, I know.
Like she just won't let him near any girls.
This kind of anime, I really want to catch up with it. I'm going to, I promise. So next week I'm going to be caught up on it.
And something that you did watch this episode, I know it, not this episode, but last week's, when he sees that girl's cleavage, the way he reacts to that is fantastic because he turns away right away. Mm-hmm. And she says, did you see? And instead of denying, he says, I got to look.
Yeah.
Like, very mature. That's why I like this character. He's very mature.
He didn't lie about it or anything.
No,
yeah.
It's very nice, very well done.
He seems way too mature for who he is, though.
Well,
probably because he's a robot who's been alive forever.
Yeah.
Fair enough. We just answered that one ourselves.
So, yeah, Irregular Magic at High School, I'm very much enjoying this anime.
Came out of nowhere, and it's still pretty good, even though it probably didn't come out of nowhere for everybody. But
so, next we're going to be talking about Ishukan Friends, or One Week Friends.
This one, I like this episode because it's throwing a couple hitches. And I was getting worried because the setup and the rhythm was getting pretty set in stone. They were beginning to skip through the introduction phase and get right to the friendship. But it's beginning to show that Hase is actually really jealous. And it's
because he likes her.
It makes sense. He likes her, and he's liked her since the beginning.
You know what? I'm getting kind of sick of Hase. If it wasn't for, I think his name's Shogo.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for him, I would be very annoyed with Hase
We
right
need
now.
a character like Hase, though. We have to have somebody who has a detrimental flaw like jealousy.
Which is fine, but I'm saying if Shogo wasn't here, at this point I would hate this character because Shogo cuts through Hase's crap always.
Yeah.
When Hase gets mad, he's like, "Well, you're just jealous," and then Hase's like,
Shogo is so blunt it hurts.
I really like Shogo. He's the Goto of this series.
Yeah, he's really good. But you know what? Hase was really endeared in this episode. What happens in the episode? You've all watched it. But when they wanted to go see the seal, apparently they got stuck in a river, and Fujiyama, is that right? Fujimiya, sorry, not Fujiyama. Fujimiya and Hase get in the fight because
you called her Mount Fuji.
I know I did. Oh, sorry about that. I actually know how to write Yama in here or katakana, I think.
Well,
nope.
You mean kanji?
Kanji.
It's pretty simple kanji, so.
Thanks, man. Shut me down there.
No
Anyways,
worries.
Hase and Fujiyama. Nope.
Fujimiya. You said it again.
Fujimiya get in a fight because Hase's like, please stop talking about Shogo. Because Shogo is the only character who, well, she remembers lots of people, I assume, at school. But because Shogo is so attacky and he will be so blunt, he actually got in such a bad side with Fujimiya that she remembers him only because they're not really friends. But Shogo actually stood up for her and was really boss last week.
You know what? When Hase said, do you like him or something, I wanted to get annoyed, but I couldn't because I knew I would think the exact same thing
I was thinking the exact same thing.
If I was his age, I would think the exact same thing.
I was thinking
can't
that
blame him.
Fujimiya, because of what Shogo did for her and got like told those girls off, got the diary. What I'm confused about is because she is treating him verbally like a friend. He's the only one that I talk to at school. I only see Shogo. You know what I mean? Especially when they lost the diary.
The reason she doesn't forget him is because, one, they don't really have any good memories together, and two, he doesn't hang out with her.
Yeah, I guess so. And so the memories are very seclusive.
What she calls friends, I think, is more of an acquaintance.
Yeah, okay. So what happens was Hase argues with Fujimiya so much so that Fujimiya just leaves school early, is kind of lost in thought and wanders to the river, but then gets hit by a bike and loses her diary in the bushes, and in an awkward series of events, she pretty much stumbles around her room, ripping down every note that she
made no
I don't
sense.
Understand. So she pretty much flails through her room, knocks down, destroys everything that reminds her that Hase-kun's her friend. So she shows up to school the next day, only remembering Shogo, and Hase is wrecked. He's like, "You don't remember me?" He's really awkward, and all this stuff.
I like how your note autocorrected Hase to base.
You wrote Hase. Yeah, no, it's just base. Well, he's basically a loser.
Get ripped.
So Hase rages and says, like, pretty much goes to Shogo, his BL, his best friend, and he's like, "Man, I don't understand what's going on." And Shogo's like, she doesn't seem like the kind of girl that would throw something like that away, so maybe she lost it.
Shogo is the ultimate wingman.
Yeah.
At least in this series. He goes to Fujimiya and he says, "Can you just do me a favor and talk to Hashi?" She's like, "Why?" And he's like, "It'll just make him happy."
So he kind of, I don't know, I guess Fujimiya knew where he would go. So Hase is gone for days. He's like skipping school completely for days and days and days looking for this diary because he's so desperate that she'll remember all these things that he did. Kind of selfish of him, actually. Why doesn't he just start over?
Because there's a lot of development that they've lost. It's been a month.
I guess so. So anyways, he eventually meets up with Fujimiya, and she is talking with him, and it's really cute. And she's remembering him a little bit because she's calling him Hase-kun, even though you wouldn't call someone Hase-kun if you just met them, right? So he's like, you called me Hase-kun. She's like, I did. That's weird. So anyways, they're remembering. He stumbles upon and finds the diary. She is really happy, and then everything kind of goes back to normal. But I like the way this series is going because so much can go wrong when all you're relying on is a diary and a note on your door.
This series is kind of weird for me where I have to be in a certain mindset to really enjoy it. If I, for example, I can watch Captain Earth or If Her Flight Breaks or Chaika anytime in the day and I'll be fine. But if I'm going to watch Ishukan Friends and I want to enjoy it, I need to be in a very specific kind of mindset. It's very hard to explain. I've tried that with Kawai. It doesn't work. I just get angry. But anyway, I did like this episode. I specifically like how Fujimiya is not the damsel in distress. She doesn't act like a victim when she's trying to remember her diary and she's just like starting to remember very little. And Shogo's about to tell her, she says, no, stop, I'll remember on my own. I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, very good. Very good characters. Like the three of them together balance very well. And I like where this is going.
Did you watch the preview?
No.
Because it's not going to be three of them anymore.
What?
Adding another girl.
Oh, cool. They need another one, just to kind of toss it up a bit.
Oh, same with The World is Still Beautiful. Next episode, they're adding another girl.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Love triangle.
So, yeah, that was Ishukan Friends. We call it by Ishukan Friends. It's 1 week Friends, but whatever, Ishukan Friends.
We call it Ishukan. It doesn't matter.
So, yeah, now we're on to Akuma no Riddle.
Akuma no Riddle.
Which I haven't caught up on yet.
I was disappointed with this episode. I said last week that it was really good. I liked how, that each girl assassin had their own backstory. The last girl, her backstory was okay. This girl's backstory was an entire cliche. She had I have a family to support backstory. Like, they're all little kids and she's like the oldest of them. No parents.
So the Brock story.
Yeah, the Brock story. Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you remember that.
It's Pokemon, man. That's like embedded into my very soul. I want to be the... I'm not going to go there.
Anyway, her backstory was pretty lame. Her method assassination was pretty lame. I liked her character in general, I guess. Her name was Haruki. Basically, her method assassination, she had gauntlets that she wore. But they contained string that she used to choke people out. And you know what? Haru is starting to get less naive, which I'm very much like. Because when Haruki starts approaching her alone, Haru starts backing up very slowly. It's very subtle. But she's finally starting to get over her naivete that she knows, okay, she might try to kill me here.
You'd think by now?
I mean, okay. It was pretty obvious when she walked in because she's like, oh, Tokaku called me here. And then Haruki comes out. She's like, Tokaku's not coming. I'm like, okay, this is where you run. Like, as soon as you hear those words, you run for your life. But no, actually, she did try to run when she was walking towards her. And then she started strangling her. It was pretty cool. Anyway, what was interesting about this episode, one of the few things that was, because really this episode was not that interesting, Haruki intended to die. She set up because she figured that she could kill Tokaku because she knew that Tokaku isn't at her best because she's, cursed by those words. She doesn't know why, but she knows she's holding back in a way. And so she rigged the room for the ceiling to collapse. The ceiling collapses, and then they're fine, and then even Haruki's fine. And then Haruki
that failed.
Yeah, it failed miserably. And Haruki was like, "Well, I lost." And then Haru's like, now you have to live. And like she's like, "Okay, I'll listen to the winner, whatever. I'll go live." And she like leaves school and goes home and whatever.
Are all these girls getting education elsewhere?
I don't know.
I mean,
Haruki, it's such a waste. This episode was a giant waste. One nice thing that happened, Haru was like just too perfect. Like Hazuki, did I just say your name right? Haruki says that, how can you live with a smile on your face when so many people have died for you? Like, you live off their deaths. And she's like, it's because of that I have to live with a smile. And then internally, she respects that. She's like, I wonder if my siblings will live like that if I die. But basically, what happens is she's like, I tried to kill you. How could you forgive me? Like, this is after the roof collapses and they're all fine. Except for her arm's like bent backwards. So she's pretty much hurt, but she's not dead. And she's like, if someone sins and they reflect and repent, no matter how many times they sin, I would have to forgive them.
Oh.
And then Tokaku, actually at the very end of the episode, because Tokaku's still haunted by her own sins, and she's like, "Did you really mean what she said?" And she like comes and hugs Tokaku from behind. She's like, "I will always forgive you."
Wow.
Even though she doesn't know what she did.
It's pretty magnanimous.
And this entire episode, Tokaku's struggling with forgiveness in general. She doesn't believe in forgiveness. Even the guy who always sends her the texts and the riddles, the answer seems to be forgiveness to all of his riddles. And she reads the text. She's like, "Are you trying to tell me to forgive again?" She's like, "It's not going to happen." But it looks like Haru's the one who's going to finally make her accept what she did.
That's kind of cool.
It's very nice. I wish they would not, have throwaway assassins like this.
It's
the first assassin was really cool because she was a serial killer. She just wanted to murder. The second assassin was okay. She was kind of a cliche. The third assassin was not very good at all. It's kind of letting me down at this point. I really hope it gets better. There's obviously the best assassin is the long-haired one who's like really stuck up, and like she brings her own desk to school and her own chair to school, like a really fancy desk and fancy chair. She's very rich. And in the opening theme, she's like the last one that Tokaku's fighting. So it's pretty obvious that she's going to be the best one. And you know what? I'm also getting kind of sick of Tokaku finishing, like, beating assassins without killing them. I want some death in this series. Give me some death. You can't just... There's like, 12 assassins? You can't just let them all live.
Well, in an
at least one of them has to
series
die.
that has so much heavy undertones of death and murder and assassinations, for them to be nothing?
Yeah.
Seems kind of weird.
So it's... this. I'm not going to drop it, but it's starting to get a bit rickety.
Oh, really?
If they still do like this weak sauce cliche assassin thing... I'm going to have to drop it eventually.
Part of me hopes that like all these series that you're watching and I'm not makes me kind of like very selfishly hope that you drop them, so I feel validated in my decision. So
well,
that's it. So
in a couple hours we'll find out if I drop Kawai.
We're pretty much done with our recap. There was this in last week we did this Brown's Corner where Rajpreet talked about various other anime that he's following. We're not going to talk about those anymore.
No, I just wanted to cover them very lightly.
Oh, okay.
I didn't want to review them every week. I just wanted to kind of give updates.
Is anything exciting happening in those ones? You haven't even caught up to that card one yet.
I keep putting that off. I just can't do it. Because we still have to watch Toradora.
Yeah, Blade and Soul.
And now I'm playing Clannad. That's a 50-hour game.
Yeah.
I'll beat it within 3 days if I just play it straight.
I don't know. Whatever. Things are happening. Do you have anything to say? You're the only one following any of those ones off Crunchy.
Off the top of my head, nothing really. They're still going pretty well. Blade and Soul is still good. My opinion,
fair enough.
Pretty good.
Fair enough.
Is the Order of Rabbit still cutesy?
You dropped it though, didn't you?
I have dropped it as of now. It's cutesy, but there's just not enough content for me to keep going. 3 episodes good enough.
What about Logi?
No, I dropped that a long time ago.
Oh, okay.
Never watching that again. I couldn't understand it.
We haven't even started Breakblade yet.
No, Breakblade's at like 3 episodes now.
Okay. Oh, and this M3 one? M8?
Yeah, M3. Those two we'll probably not cover on the next podcast because we still have to go over Toradora.
We'll catch up to them eventually.
Probably the week after I'll catch up to them.
So we're a week away from reviewing Toradora. That's a heavy call. We're
25 episodes?
25 episodes.
Have you watched a single episode yet?
7 days. No, but I remember a lot more than you because you dropped it and hated it. But
I haven't watched that yet.
We'll figure it out. I mean, I got a pretty set schedule next week, so I should be.
I can finish Toradora in about 3 days. Yeah. It won't take me very long. It's just It's not that I don't want to do it. It's just I have to start.
Yeah,
it's kind of a journey.
We'll get there.
I'm really hoping that I like this because if I don't like it, then I'm gonna want to drop it as I'm watching it.
It's really good. We'll watch a couple.
That's
episodes.
What you say, but I don't know.
We'll go get after this. We'll go get food.
I don't want to watch it with you.
And we'll watch it. Why not?
I don't want to watch it with you. I want to form my opinion separately. Because I'm afraid of you influencing me.
Maybe the first episode? I'll be quiet.
No, you won't. You know how we watch anime. We talk over the entire episode.
Yeah, we do. It's kind of annoying for anybody else. It's why we got separated.
Nobody watches anime with us.
That's true.
It's just us.
So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this weekly recap. We're gonna call it recap now because we got belittled. We're not supposed to call it reviews. Recaps only.
But we've been labeling them recap when we upload them.
We've been saying reviews sometimes too.
Hey, we just did a weekly review.
I guess so, but it's a weekly recap.
No, I'm just saying I don't care if they say we shouldn't call it a review. I'll call it a review if I want to.
We did a weekly review, everybody.
Yeah, So Spencer, we just said it, but what are we going to do next week?
So again, we're going to do another weekly recap on the anime that are coming out. And for our bonus podcast, it's going to be a review on Toradora.
Yeah, that one will probably come out first, and then the recap will come out after. They'll be pretty close to each other, so you won't notice.
We're going to be really tired.
It'll be a 2-parter, just like God Only Knows episode.
Man, another 3 hours straight? I don't know if I can do it.
If you watch that review, thank you.
Yeah, 200 of you did. I don't know if you guys watched it like 10 times. But thank you for listening. It really, really, really makes a big difference.
Someone who loves Godly knows it warms my heart that you guys would listen to us talk about it.
We made some mistakes on the World Godly Knows podcast. We are aware. But, we barely do any pre-research before these podcasts. Most of it is ad-lib. We have some notes so we get names right. But the fact that we were able to cover 6 years worth of content in an hour and a half relatively well, don't hate us too much.
We've been going a lot longer than we usually do on the recaps.
Yeah, we're on an hour and 50 minutes. Yeah. There's just so much going on for each. And unfortunately, we're not even anywhere close to dropping any of these.
Two
of them. We're close to dropping 2 of them.
All right, so I guess that's it for this week.
Yeah.
I'm Raj of James and Brown.
And I'm Spence of James and Brown.
We'll see you guys next week with a recap and Toradora. Hopefully I don't hate it.
And as always, please comment on Twitter or the Reddit post so we know what you want for next week.
Send all of your questions, concerns, your love, your hate to Twitter at JMB Podcast.
Thank you guys so much again for another amazing podcast.
See you next week.
Bye.